Hey guys, hope you are well. So, welcome to the Anime Fictions 2.0. This is the story about what if Naruto prodigy of an Uchiha clan. Part 2. Hope you will love this what if scenario. If you did, do subscribe for more awesome whatif. Share with your friends and enjoy them. Check out the other videos I have created. Comment down your opinion. So, without wasting any time, let's jump into the second part. Konoha Academy, Kanahigakur no Sato. It was going exactly the way Naruto Uchiha had predicted. Kasumi had first performed the henge and turned into an older version of herself. The fact that her body seemed more womanly only made her fanboys scream in joy. Kiba literally howled and had a nosebleed. Even the normally stoic Sasuke Uchiha had a strange look on his face. Iruka smiled at seeing her perfect henge. The white-haired Mizuki, however, had a devious look on his face. Naruto, on the other hand, blushed hard and looked away at the window. Fucking hormones. Needless to say, Naruto was still coming to terms with the fact as to whether he saw Kasumi as just a friend or not. Kasumi had turned around while in the henge and looked at Naruto, who had looked away, and Kasumi looked sad. The boys in the room had started glaring daggers at Naruto, with Kiba being the prime of them. Why did Kasumi care about a guy who just ignores her? Kiba in particular did not like the boy. He had a crush on Kasumi ever since her growth spurt hit. Sasuke merely observed the reactions of the two. He felt annoyed for some reason. Naruto was still looking away, knowing that Kasumi had not dropped the henge. He heard the smoke and saw that Kasumi was back to her normal appearance, albeit looking a bit sad. Naruto felt that hollow feeling again. He sighed in frustration at himself. He then saw Kasumi perform a kawarimi with Iruka, and then finally came the part even Naruto was dreading for her. Okay, Kasumi. All that's left is for you to perform the bunshin? Naruto closed his eyes. He silently prayed to whatever higher form of a divine being that was out there. How many years has it been since he prayed to Kami? He doesn't remember. Ever since his mother died, he simply stopped caring. When he was at the shrine, he would put up the farce that he was praying for the deceased Uchiha clan. He resented the fact that a divine deity like Kami had decided to fuck with his life and take away everything from him. But why was he praying now? Kasumi had rejected his help in training, and Naruto over the years realized that it was her pride as a growing kunoichi that made her do it. He overreacted all those years ago. Now he could think this as his mind became more cold and rational. He had rejected her friendship and she tried to be friends with him. But he had shot her chances down. Would she still be friends with him if he apologized? Please, Kami. This is the only thing I want from you right now. Please make her pass. Kasumi winced in fear. The bunshin was the one thing she had absolutely no control over. She had never successfully made one. But for some reason instincts took over. She turned around to see her once friend. He had his eyes closed. She wanted to see his eyes. She wanted to know if there was still some part of him that considered her a friend. She had realized her silly mistake over the years. She learned from the Ikarakas that Naruto was in a sense similar to her. He was also glared at and berated for the majority of his life. It wasn't until that his entire clan had been wiped out that people started to look at him normally. She realized that, like him, she must have been his first friend. After that, she tried to speak with him, but the old Naruto was gone. He called her Uzumaki-san. Words could not describe how hurt she felt when he spoke in an emotionless voice to her. She vowed that she would become stronger, and then one day make sure he becomes her friend again. But over the last year, she started to look at Naruto differently. He was cute in her eyes. She had accidentally blurted that out in front of Im, who teased her to no end about it. She had also learned about the birds and the bees from her. She had also begun questioning her own friendship with the raven-haired enigma, and then suddenly his eyes opened. Blue eyes met violet orbs. For a moment they just stared into each other's eyes. Time itself stood still. Until a whine from some stupid fucking fanboys ruined the moment. They were glaring daggers at Naruto for grabbing Kasumi's attention. Seriously, what is up with them? Naruto always politely brushes her off, and she still looks at Naruto more than any other boy. Kiba was muttering something about dog food. Naruto was beginning to realize the awkwardness of the situation and did the one thing Kasumi did not expect. He nodded towards her. Kasumi felt heat rushing to her cheeks. Naruto had interacted with her once again. She nodded and grinned at Naruto and turned to face Iruka and Mizuki. She performed the ramp sign. She could not fail. She would make her friend acknowledge her. Her path to Hokage would begin now. Then a puff of smoke appeared beside Kasumi. A ghost of a clone appeared beside Kasumi. The clone was pale white and looked like it was dying. Kasumi Uzumaki had failed to pass the genin exam. She was tearing up. Then the words from Irika's mouth made the gravity of the situation fall on her. Sorry, Kasumi. You failed the exam. But. That was all Kasumi heard before she ran away. The tears had sprinkled into the air and glistened. Some of the girls laughed, some of the boys were a bit disappointed, but a majority of them, including Kiba, thought that now that she was a civilian she would be easier to get. Sasuke scoffed and thought that despite her looks, she was weakling. Hinata felt sad that her only friend from the academy had failed. She knew how much this test meant to Kasumi. She now looked at Naruto. The boy was cold but not unkind. He was not arrogant like Sasuke but felt apathetic towards everyone. Or so she thought as she saw conflict in his eyes. Naruto felt like he betrayed Kasumi. Damn it! He mentally yelled as his legs twitched. Why did he turn his back on her? Sure, she refused his help, but shouldn't he have tried to help her? At least give her a few pointers. He could have done that. He should have done that. He was broken from his thoughts as Irika began a speech about their accomplishments on becoming genin. Naruto nearly scoffed at his declaration as his colder side began to emerge. Genin. PFT. Even that word sounds wrong. Irika then told the class they were free and that the team placements would be announced 2 months later. Naruto sighed out of frustration. Another 2 months of useless waiting. Why did Itachi have to go and kill the clan again? Oh right. Naruto got up and some of his fangirls rushed over to him. Ino Yamanaka was among them. They were bothering him about a date. Naruto tried his best to keep his metaphorical fuse from blowing and simply apologized and said no. The civilians he could understand, but why was Ino, the heiress of the Yamanaka clan, a fangirl? It made absolutely no sense. He'd have to do something about them soon. If he didn't, he might just end up killing them. Konoha Academy Field. Naruto had started molding chakra and was trying to sense a large signature of chakra. It wasn't the Kyuubi's. He had seen the attempted hostile beating to understand that Kasumi was the Jinchuriki. But her chakra in itself was dense. She probably had more chakra than the third Hokage. This was the reason why she could not make a simple clone. Her chakra was even greater than Naruto's, though he had far better control. He then found her sitting on a swing with tears rolling down her eyes. She was silently weeping. Naruto did not like this at all. He slowly made his way towards her and sat beside her on another swing. He was not sure what to say. He simply stared ahead and looked at the crowd of parents that had come up to take their children who had passed. They were proud of them. He saw Sasuke look at them with a look of indifference and annoyance. Naruto could understand what Sasuke felt right now. His own parents were killed by his brother. He was upset. He had the right to be angry, but that does not mean he can look down upon other people. Looks like I failed, huh? A soft whimpering voice was heard in Naruto's ear. He looked at his side to see Kasumi still freely crying. Her bangs had covered her eyes. Yes, Naruto said. He had become too stoic, much to his distaste. But that doesn't mean it's over for you yet. Kasumi looked up at her once friend. He wasn't even looking at her. He had that same damn expression on his face. One that was completely devoid of emotion. His eyes, which seemed brighter a few moments ago in the classroom, had dulled once again. But his words were not lost on her ears. What do you mean it's not over yet? Kasumi asked. There was no way she was letting this chance go by. What I mean is, academy students who fail the test are given a chance 6 months later once again. Although, they receive no help from the instructors at all. So it can be. Will you help in training me? Those words caused Naruto to look at Kasumi with wide eyes. She had asked him for help. The chances he missed to help her. How she refused at first. Will he ignore her once again? I don't know, Naruto said as his face remained blank. If I am going to be a genin, it means I will be very busy for the next few months. So there may not be a chance I can help you. Kasumi's eyes looked down to the ground once more. Why would he help her? She was a fail. However, that does not mean I won't try to help you when I get the chance. Kasumi looked at Naruto with wide eyes now. Naruto had said yes. He would help her when he gets the chance. This was what she had wanted for a long time. Then she grinned. Naruto simply looked at her with curiosity. Arigato, Naruto. Kasumi all but yelled. She got up and stood in front of him. Just wait. With you training me, I'll finish that exam in no time to Bayo. Naruto could not help but lightly smile. Her bubbly and cheerful attitude was the perfect antithesis to his indifferent stoic visage. He looked at her once more. Maybe you will, Naruto said and got up and noticed she was still wearing the goggles. Well, I have to go then. Me too, Kasumi said, and she was the first to run off. She had accidentally left a piece of paper. It was her exam sheet. Naruto picked it up and was shocked. There was a placed on top of the paper. It was filled with much tougher questions. Questions that resembled the curriculum of the old Genin system. Did Kasumi pass a written exam of the old Genin curriculum? Naruto asked himself out loud. This was absolutely against the rules set forth ever since Itachi murdered the clan. Naruto's house, Uchiha clan compound. Naruto was sitting and he was frustrated at the revelation he discovered today. Naruto had half a mind to go to the Hokage's office and tell Sarutobi about the incident today. Then he realized the old man would ask him how he knew how to detect since he was considered an average student. Then he copied Shursue's handwriting and started filling up empty notebooks on ninjutsu and taijutsu. It was very basic, but he unknowingly took more time and actually wrote down books in chakra theory as well. He also made additional scrolls for 3 fire, 2 wind, and 1 for the shadow clone. All of the letters perfectly resembled Shursue's handwriting. He was rather proud of the notes he had written. Much better than the garbage that was used in the academy. How had the standards dropped so low? He still asked himself that. Fully confident that he would not be suspected, he placed the books and scrolls on the shelf. He ran out of the house. Red Light District. Naruto then made his way over to the Hokage Tower. Since he was one of the 3 last members of the Uchiha clan, he had certain privileges that most shinobi did not. He could meet with the Hokage anytime he wanted. But first, he'd have to get Kasumi first. She needed to know this, and he was going to the Red Light District. He found Kasumi's apartment, and was going to knock on the door. But he felt a different chakra signature. It was Mizuki. He knocked on the door, and no reply came. He then remembered the look Mizuki had on his face, and kicked the door wide open. He rushed to the room and found Kasumi with a red mark on her cheek as the upper portion of her top was ripped apart. Mizuki had taken off his shirt, and had placed his hand over Kasumi's mouth to avoid her from screaming. Naruto's mind snapped as he kicked Mizuki away, who dropped a kunai on the bed as Kasumi violently panted. Naruto was going to kill Mizuki. No mercy. Mizuki was rushing towards Naruto once more and engaged him in taijutsu. He was getting beaten. He tried to reach for his backpack, but Naruto appeared in front of it. He saw the kunai on the bed and grabbed it. He grabbed Kasumi and held her hostage as the kunai was pointed at her neck. Stop right there, Uchiha, or the demon bitch gets it. Mizuki, I'll give you exactly 10 seconds to let her go. After that I will kill you, Naruto replied as he gritted his teeth. Why do you care what happens to the demon bitch? I kill her, I kill Kyubi. I'm doing us all a favor. Mizuki said this and Kasumi's eyes widened. What? What do you mean kill the Kyubi? Kasumi voiced her question with a whimper. Don't you know, you whore? Mizuki said it viciously. The yondaime never killed the Kyubi. He sealed it into you. You are the Kyubi no Yoko, Mizuki said, and Kasumi's eyes lost whatever color they had. Mizuki. Naruto now activated his Sharingan. You will die. Mizuki's body froze up at visual contact. He could not move. Suddenly Kasumi started screaming as she grabbed her head. Her eyes turned crimson with black slits. A bubbling layer of chakra coat engulfed her body. She felt despair, rage, and she grabbed the kunai that had fallen from Mizuki's hand and rushed at him with the kunai. Naruto wanted to stop her, but decided against it. Why? This would be her first kill. It may break her mind, but if she was to be a kunoichi, she would have to do it eventually. Squelch. The kunai dug through Mizuki's bare chest. Kasumi immediately jumped away at what she had done. Mizuki was right. Her eyes still had slits, and then she looked at Naruto, who had activated his Manjikyu and used a Kasumi's mindscape. Kasumi found herself in a dark hallway. It was more like a sewer as the water on the floor suggested. The entire place was dimly lit. She noticed a cage with the word seal on it. Curiosity dragged her towards the gate as she saw 2 large crimson eyes appearing in the darkness of the cage. Then she saw fangs appear. A giant head of a dark orange-colored fox appeared. The titanic body of the Kyubi no Kitsune then came into view. All 9 tails of the majestic were swaying around as he looked at Kasumi. So my jailer decides to grace me with her presence? Kyubi said in a dark echoing voice. Why you? KQB. W, where are we? H, how did you bring me here? Kasumi asked as she was terrified of the legendary beast of destruction standing before her. We're in your mind. But I want to ask you something. You liked it, didn't you? QB said with a malicious grin. When you used my power to kill him? In fact, you enjoyed it. And no. Mizuki-sensei tried to. Kasumi broke down in tears, remembering how Mizuki attempted to rape her, and how she grabbed a kunai out of pure rage. Her mind was breaking apart, as more dense bubbling chakra was going to engulf her, but she felt a hand on her shoulder. The hand was warm. She then turned around to see who it was. Naruto Uchiha. Hey Kasumi. Naruto said with a light smile. His eyes were different. Instead of the normal blue she really liked seeing, it was red. There were 6 black blades like a pinwheel in the iris of his eyes. Naruto sat down to her level and looked her deep in the eyes as the chakra coat began to dissolve. QB roared. You! Uchiha scum! QB roared and leaked his killing intent. It was dark. Way too dark. Come here so I can rip you to shreds. Do I look that stupid? Naruto asked as his Manjikyu stared into the QB. He made a ram sign and the QB felt suppressed. That damn Manjikyu. You! QB said once more as he was slowly beginning to fall asleep. Your chakra and blood. It's the same as his. Even your eyes are as malicious as Madara's. You're his descendant, aren't you? That accursed Sharingan of yours is going to be your downfall. I pray I can watch the light leave your eyes. Enough. Now sleep. Naruto said, not wanting to keep using his Manjikyu. For the last 6 years, whenever he used the Manjikyu, he did not feel the pain as much as he did. It receded over the years. Still, he did not want to risk it. He figured it must have been a genetic trait. His parents and brother, as he learned from Shursui's scrolls, had also not gone blind from using the Manjikyu, though that was probably because they did not use it that often. However, QB's words on Madara's descendant had piqued his interest. He did remember reading a secret scroll in the stone tablet chamber about Madara and a woman he was infatuated with conceiving a child. Maybe, just maybe, that child had gone on to become the ancestor for the Branch clan. That would explain why the Branch clan, despite not having the majority of the clan's secrets, still became good shinobi. That would explain the main house, with the exception of a handful, treated the Branch members that way. The Uchiha clan was fucked up by any and all standards. They hated the man who became a rogue shinobi but ended up adopting his will later on. Naruto mused again that maybe his parents were somehow directly descended from Madara's child. He felt a little proud of being descended from Madara himself. QB had closed his eyes and Naruto looked back at Kasumi, who was still looking at him in awe. She seemed so lost. Let's leave. I'll try to explain everything later. Kasumi's house. Naruto grabbed the kunai from Kasumi's hand and told her to play along, as he deactivated his Sharingan. He sensed some ANBU coming. There were 2. One with a boar mask and another female with a cat mask. What happened here? Kat asked as she eyed the body of Mizuki, who had a stab mark on his chest. He was not breathing anymore. I came here to visit Kasumi for her exam paper. Naruto brought it out of his pocket. Apparently her paper was based on the old tougher curriculum via layers of. I came here to speak to her about it, and saw that Mizuki was trying to. Naruto didn't finish as Kat looked at Kasumi, who was hiding behind Naruto and clutching the back of his shirt. Her top was a little torn off and both the A and BU understood. Naruto turned around and took off his jacket, giving it to Kasumi. He placed her arms within the jacket and zipped it up as she hugged the jacket. She was still shaking. You two will need to come with us to the Hokage. It'll be better if he hears this. Boar spoke for the first time. Kasumi sat down and cried once more. Could give us a few minutes? Naruto asked politely with a stoic voice. The ANBU understood and stepped outside of the apartment, closing the door. Naruto sat down to her level and was looking at her. I am a monster, Kasumi said in whispers as tears kept falling. Mizuki was right. Kasumi could not finish as she felt 2 familiar hands on her shoulders once again. She was staring into Naruto's eyes, which seemed hurt, yet it comforted her at the same time. No, you're not. Naruto spoke as softly as he could. This was thin ice he was treading on. Mizuki was a fool who didn't know any better. What he tried to do to you, I would have killed him anyway. Kasumi gasped a little at what her once friend said. He would have killed Mizuki. But at the same time her heart started beating faster. He would have killed Mizuki because of what he tried to do to her. Kasumi. Don't tell anyone about the fox you met today. Tell Hokage-sama that Mizuki tried to force himself on you. Then I arrived and fought him. He called you the demon fox and that. I killed him. Don't argue, please. Naruto tightened his grip on her shoulders a bit. Let me take the blame. I'm officially a shinobi, and they'll let it slide. So please, as your friend, I ask you this. Kasumi stared wide-eyed again at his last statement. He was her friend. Do you really mean it? Kasumi asked as she looked at him with hope. Are we friends? Naruto smiled. For the first time in years he genuinely smiled. How he felt relieved that Kasumi would still accept him as a friend. Hi, Naruto said as he poked her forehead with his index and middle fingers. He picked this up from Itachi and Shursui, who often teased him. You're my first friend. Kasumi then cried a bit more. Knock knock. Are you coming or not? The voice of Kat came from the other side of the door. Yeah, just wait, Naruto said. He then helped Kasumi get up, taking her hands into his. It felt so soft. They then walked out of the apartment and followed the Anbu. The Hokage's office. Naruto and Kasumi finished explaining the situation to Hiruzen Sarutobi. Kasumi explained to Sarutobi, and Naruto by extension, as to why Mizuki had come there in the first place. Apparently Mizuki had come and told Kasumi that there was a way to pass the exam after you've failed. All she had to do was impress Mizuki. At first she did not understand what Mizuki meant and asked permission to come in so he could explain what she would need to do. Mizuki had come in and was trying to get touchy with Kasumi. She refused and told him to leave her alone, as she knows that civilians can't attack a shinobi, not without proper cause, and Kasumi was essentially the village pariah. Then Mizuki had slapped Kasumi across her cheek, which explained the red mark. He then dragged her to her room and said something about cleansing the demon. He had torn off the upper portion of her top and placed his hand over her mouth so she could not yell for help. She started crying as she remembered the scene from an hour ago and broke down crying. Naruto placed a shoulder on her hand and she tried to choke back her sobs. This act was not missed in the third Hokage's eyes. He could see a strong bond between these two. He had never seen them together before and assumed that they must have met prior to the academy. Mentally, he was chuckling at the scene before him. "Ah, young ones?" Sarutobi thought to himself. Naruto then explained that was the situation he came into, and Mizuki held Kasumi hostage at kunai point. He then said that Mizuki revealed that the Kyuubi, not Kitsune, was sealed inside Kasumi. That she was the demon reborn. Kasumi had then broken free from his grip by reverse head-butting him. Naruto then rushed and killed Mizuki with the kunai, otherwise Mizuki would have killed both of them. Naruto had also added that he knew the difference between a kunai and the scroll that holds it. He said that Kasumi was important. She jailed the Kyuubi, she was not the Kyuubi. She is the reason why Kyuubi did not get to destroy the entire village and was still holding it back, protecting the village. Kasumi once more smiled at her friend. He would always have her back, that was the thought in Kasumi's mind. Sarutobi was impressed at the reasoning of the young Uchiha. He noted the resemblances of ideals that he held and couldn't help but compare it to his parents. He was truly the son of Genjuro and Satsuki Uchiha. When asked about the malicious chakra that the cat mask-wearing Anbu felt, Naruto explained that she just flared her chakra unknowingly due to the dense nature of her chakra system, and some of the Kyuubi's influence leaked out. That receded immediately. He also tactically made sure that there was no mention of his Sharingan. Kasumi had also not said anything about it, though Naruto knew that Kasumi would bug him about it later. The Sandaime Hokage was ashamed of the fact that someone like Mizuki was a Konoha shinobi. He then questioned Naruto about how he knew how to release the. Naruto explained that Shursui had left many notes of shinobi arts in the house and Naruto had read that one a few days ago. He added that he really did not understand the whole thing, just the basics. Naruto-kun, how did you feel after you had killed Mizuki? Sarutobi asked. This was an important question. It would determine his psychological capacity. Hokage-sama. I felt sick, Naruto said, remembering his first kill. The bandits he killed. I felt like vomiting, but for some reason I held it back. I keep remembering how I stabbed him with his kunai. How? I saw his eyes slowly losing their color. Naruto looked down. Kasumi, however, had felt those same exact emotions, beside the obvious berserker rage. This raised another question in her mind. She was slow, but she was not an idiot as people believed. Did Naruto kill someone before? I see. Sarutobi then looked at Kasumi. I am sorry you had to go through that, Kasumi-chan. Even the exam you gave was tampered with. I could arrange for you to take the exam in another 2 weeks if you want. You can do that, right? Hi Gigi. Kasumi slightly felt relieved that the pressure of the situation was lightening. Naruto was right. She was going to go scot-free. Hokage-sama, Naruto said, if I may interject. Can I be Kasumi's helper until she takes the exam? Hiruzen Sarutobi raised an eyebrow. He knew better. He could obviously see some sort of connection between the two. However, those two themselves did not see it. I have no problem with that, Naruto-kun. You can visit the Konoha hospital if you want, Naruto-kun. Most people feel strange after their first kill. Hi Hokage-sama. Naruto got up and Kasumi turned to Sarutobi. Arigato Gigi. For letting me take the exams again. She said it in a low voice. Not like her usual loud-mouthed voice. Sarutobi felt sad hearing her tone. It's alright, Kasumi-chan. Make sure you pass the exams this time. Gigi? Kasumi asked. Can I stay somewhere else today? The apartment is still. She did not finish. They both understood the situation. Hokage-sama. I have 3 spare rooms. Since I'll be training her, she can stay at my place. Naruto then realized about the implied inappropriateness of what he said and covered his mouth over his stupid blabber. Kasumi tilted her head in confusion, which was cute in Naruto's eyes. He mentally cursed again. Damn it! Curse Yumiko Oba-chan. Sarutobi had a perverted giggle on her face. For some reason he was remembering Ika Ika Volume 4. Young love. Kasumi realized what Naruto's words had mistakenly implied and saw Sarutobi giggling. Out of nowhere she threw a ramen cup at his face, and it left a red mark. The ANBU guarding the room did not interfere. The old man had it coming. Chigomen. I didn't mean to say it like that. Naruto spluttered out. It's okay. I can stay in the extra room, Kasumi said. Then her hair started flowing again. But don't try anything funny. Naruto shivered. The ANBU sweat dropped at her behavior. After a few more words were exchanged, the Uchiha and the Uzumaki left and Sarutobi sat alone. An Uchiha and Uzumaki. Never thought I'd see this day coming. Sarutobi then noticed a stack of papers magically appearing on his desk and growled in frustration. One day paperwork, Sarutobi said with a dark tone. One day. Naruto's apartment, Uchiha clan compound. Well then make sure you wake up at 7 in the morning. Good night. Naruto said he was going to leave, but suddenly Kasumi ran and hugged him. Naruto's brain stopped working. Kasumi's head was buried into his chest and his arms wrapped themselves around Kasumi on his own. She was crying again. She had not said a single word when they walked back to her house to get some of her clothes and then made it all the way back to the Uchiha compound. They also had a silent dinner, which unsurprisingly was ramen. Hey! She needed it. Now the emotional dam was broken. Naruto's shirt was getting soaked from Kasumi's tears. Arigato. Kasumi's voice made it into Naruto's ear. It's alright, Kasumi. Naruto rubbed her back as gently as he could while the other was on the back of her head. Rest up. We'll meet tomorrow. I promise. Okay. Kasumi then looked at him. She had a blush on her face as she looked away. Why did she hug him again? Okay then, good night, Naruto said, and he smiled at her. Kasumi with the blush smiled back. She seemed so beautiful when she smiled, and Naruto himself had a light blush on his face. You know, you should always smile more. It suits you. He didn't have the guts to look at her and say it. Unknown to him, Kasumi's face got even redder and looked like a tomato. Damn it! My face feels hot. Thanks. You should smile more too. Kasumi then grinned as she felt like one-upping him. Otherwise you look like Sasuke. Naruto blinked at Kasumi 3 times more and started laughing along with Kasumi. The pun on Sasuke's name was worth it. Naruto stopped laughing. That was a good one. Anyways, Kasumi, I should be going to sleep now. Meet me at the Naka River tomorrow. We'll begin your training tomorrow, alright? Yup. Kasumi chirped. This time I will become a genin. Heck, I'll be even stronger than you. Naruto shook his head. This girl just had her first kill a few hours ago. Naruto went to his room, which was just a room away. He liked how Kasumi had hugged him. She felt so warm to him. Naruto went inside and had dinner and fell asleep. He was looking forward to tomorrow. He remembered her smile again. It made him feel so carefree and happy. Kami, make sure I can always protect that smile. The next morning. Naruto had cooked breakfast and both of them talked about how she felt considering she had her first kill. She said that she could not sleep properly but eventually got some. After breakfast, Naruto brought a sealing scroll which had the books and headed out to Naka River with Naruto. How he wished she would wear something other than orange. As they finally reached near the river, they stopped at the clearing. Naruto went to his favorite spot. A tree which had been grown by his brothers Obito and Shisui. He felt a deep connection with that tree. It provided the perfect amount of shade. The duo of orange and blue sat down near the tree and Naruto then brought out the books on chakra theory he had written and gave it to her. She did not know shit from what he understood. But why do I have to read this? Kasumi asked with a whine. Why can't you teach me how to make a clone? Naruto sighed. First you need to understand the basics. You have absolutely no control over your chakra, Naruto said. She looked down. Though that's not your fault. Your chakra reserves must be ridiculously large, so that's probably why. Really? That's so awesome to Bayo! Kasumi yelled. Yes, and if you learn how to properly control it, you can use many other easily. Plus, I think by the time you study a little bit about it, I can do something about your Bunshin problem, Naruto added, and Kasumi had fire in her eyes. Okay, don't worry, Naru. Naruto was surprised by the nickname Kasumi just gave him. Inwardly he was happy, though he did not show it. I'll finish this and any other challenge you throw at me, Bayo. I'm not afraid. Suddenly the air became cold as Naruto had a devious smirk on his face. Oh, you will be. You will be. Naruto then started chuckling in an evil mastermind fashion with his arms outstretched and open palms facing the sky. Kasumi paled at his expressions. What did I get myself into? Kasumi asked herself. 10 days later, Woods, the Uchiha clan compound, Kanahigakure no Sato. Ano, Naru, Kasumi said as Naruto was practicing his bukujutsu. What is Kasumi? Naruto asked as he stopped his practice. I want to ask you something, Kasumi said as she fidgeted with the sleeve of her black shirt. After spending a week learning from Naruto, Kasumi was wearing less orange. The keyword being less, as there was still enough orange to go around for her. In Kasumi's own words, Naruto did not understand the true power of the color orange. But Naruto had also learned a lot of things about Kasumi. For one, she was always overpriced for everything she bought. Her rent was taken care of by the Sandaime, which Naruto probably guessed was due to her being a member of the Uzumaki clan, and the stores in Konoha had always ripped her off. Another very important thing that he learned about Kasumi was her drive to be acknowledged. Even if the village hated her, she did not. She was truly a kind person and wanted to protect the village. She wanted to be the Hokage because that way people would acknowledge her and treat her with respect. Her role model was of course the Yondaime Hokage. Moving on, Naruto knew that if he was seen walking around the village with Kasumi, a new breed of rumors would be born and he would rather avoid such an event. Why? He did not want people to know that he was close to Kasumi, particularly the civilian council. They'd probably rant about him being tainted by the demon or something like that. This brought another question to Naruto's mind. How stupid could they be to even think that? If Kyuubi had Koto Amatsukami, then it would have been possible. Naru, Kasumi whined out and was doing that cute little pout face. Did you daze off again? Kasumi too had learned a fair share of things about Naruto. He was a very quiet boy, just like in class. But there was a huge difference between the one in the academy and the one at his house. He was stoic, but he was very kind. Ever since she started staying here, Naruto did not want her to do a single chore, saying that she deserves a rest from being treated as a pariah. For now, Naruto was smart enough not to use that word when discussing this. She had also seen pictures of his family, his parents, and his brothers. She felt warm and cuddly when she saw all their pictures. She mused at how Naruto must have felt when his family was alive. And from the pictures she saw, Naruto was quite happy as a child. However, a problem for both of them rose during this 10-day time span. The hormones were acting up. Naruto knew that Kasumi was by far the most beautiful girl he had seen so far. Her face, hair, and most of all her eyes. They intrigued him to no end. He found it quite hard not to stare into her violet orbs. It was too mesmerizing. He greatly appreciated her presence at his house as well. He has been living alone ever since he was 7, and Kasumi was great company to have, albeit a little loud sometimes. But he wouldn't change it for anything. Which made him ponder more on his true feelings. Is she just a friend? A close friend? Does he just want them to be friends? Kasumi was equally curious about the situation. For the first time in her life she could say that she was not alone. She had someone to see when she woke up. The raven-haired boy would treat her kindly. He cooked for them. He would say good morning and good night. He was training her properly, something most of the instructors Bar Suzum and Irika had not done. He had taught her from the ground up. But most of all, he cares about her. More than the Ikirakus, more than Gigi and her friend Hinata. He would never show it in an excessive display, but after staying with him for 10 days she pretty much had an idea how her raven-haired friend functioned. But therein lies the problem as well. Was Naruto just a friend to her? Seeing him shirtless one day certainly did not help that much. Also, when Naruto looked at her it would be much different from the looks Kiba and her other fanboys gave her. It was a reassuring look that he'd be there for her. Gomen Kasumi. Naruto scratched the back of his head. What did you want to ask? Well, Kasumi put a hand on her chin. She knew the question was somewhat personal, and she also learned that Naruto had some secrets. What she did not know was that Naruto had secretly traded places with himself with a reinforced shadow clone, while he went to train. He did not want to crank up her stress with his level of training, well not yet anyway. Go ahead Kasumi, Naruto said with a reassuring smile. You can ask me anything. Getting the confidence from her words she went ahead with it. Well, it's about your eyes, Kasumi said. Why did they become red? And there were commas all around them. Those weren't commas. Naruto chuckled lightly. Those dots are called Tomo. And the red eyes I have are called the Sharingan. Sharingan? Kasumi said, and then she remembered something important. Oh yeah? Your eyes changed, right? I mean the design. Naruto's sweat dropped at the word design. It sounded so wrong and girly in his mind. Hi. The shape changed. Naruto explained. That stage is called the Manjikyu Sharingan. It's a more advanced stage of the Kekkai Genkai. What's a? Kasumi asked. Unknown to Konoha in general, she may have sucked in history, but when it came to shinobi knowledge she would want to know everything about it. Kekkai Genkai. A blood limit. It's a unique special ability that is passed down from a shinobi family. Every major shinobi clan has one. For example, the first Hokage Hashirama Senju had the Mokuton. It is said that along with his monstrous chakra reserves and his wood release, he constructed the entire forest surrounding Konoha. As such, it is widely considered the most powerful along with the Sharingan. Kasumi had stars in her eyes after hearing how the Shodame had made the entire forest, but the last sentence had also caught her attention. Well, what does the Sharingan do? Kasumi asked. Her friend had one of the most powerful Kekkai Genkai in the world. She was swelling with pride. Well, Naruto activated his Sharingan for dramatic effect. The Sharingan only manifests in the members of the Uchiha clan. The Sharingan can see the chakra network in your body. It can also see the buildup of chakra inside your body. There is also another factor to the Sharingan. It can predict what attack you are going to perform. Suga! Kasumi yelled excitedly. That way no one can touch you. You'd be unbeatable. Naruto shook him much to her dismay. She was confused. The Sharingan is only as strong as its user. I know there are a lot of shinobi out there that I could never beat. Not right now. If they are faster than me then I can never predict their attacks. But there is one more upside to the Sharingan. Ooh. What is it? Kasumi asked. The Sharingan means the copy wheel eye. As its name suggests, it allows you to copy ninjutsu, and to an extent some taijutsu moves as well. You could copy it down to the tiniest detail and have it memorized to use it later. Wow, Kasumi said while grinning. You're the best you know that, Naruto felt a little embarrassed at the statement. Naruto spoke as he deactivated his Sharingan. Don't say that or I'll slack off. By the way, there are 4 days left until your exam. How is everything beside Bunshin? Naruto intentionally changed the topic because he knew that Kasumi would bring up questions about the Manjikyu. Right now, she did not need to know. Besides, her exams were coming up. It's perfect. But Kasumi said with a down look, what if I fail again? I could never perform a Bunshin ever. Then all your help. Kasumi was poked on her forehead again by Naruto with his index and middle fingers. She rubbed her forehead like a child. Naruto was smiling. Don't worry, Naruto said. We'll just do a different Bunshin according to your chakra reserves. Also, Kasumi, I want you to promise me one thing. What, Naru? Kasumi grew nervous as she saw the nervous look on Naruto's face. Never tell anyone about my Sharingan unless I tell them or I told you to. Not even the Hokage, Naruto said. Okay, but why? Kasumi asked. Well, it's sort of personal, and to be honest, I don't want anyone to know that I have the Sharingan. That way they might treat me with delicacy. I don't want that. Okay. Kasumi nodded. From what she understood and experienced, Naruto did not appreciate it when someone looked at him as just a member of the Uchiha clan. She was never going to lose him again. Wait. Where did that thought come from? Kasumi was slightly blushing and Naruto grew curious as went in front of her and was eyeing her curiously. But Kasumi Naruto was directly looking into her eyes. He did not realize that their noses were just away from each other. Are you Oka? Kya. Kasumi instinctively punched Naruto away with her feminine fury. Naruto was lying on the ground with swirls instead of eyes, absolutely unconscious. Kasumi realized what she did and was shaking Naruto even more violently to wake him up. She was holding his head in her lap and was sweating comical bullets. Oh no! I killed Naru! It was even more funny because she was ranting about how no one else would be her friend and whatnot. Then she noticed a figure standing away from them. The presents had just arrived. What are you doing here, Do? Kasumi gritted her teeth at that sentence. Standing a few feet away from her was the heir of the Uchiha clan. Sasuke Uchiha, or as Kasumi called Team. Team, Kasumi said, proving the point of the author, go away. I have to wake Naru up. Now this sentence got a different reaction from Sasuke. Normally, he'd be hning away, but for some reason he felt jealous. The lamb from the branch side of the clan had someone to care for him. Even now. His mother Mikoto had often praised Naruto along with his traitor of a kin-slaying brother Itachi. He had seen Naruto casually spend his time with his family and Sasuke's, yet there was no indication of pressure or sadness in him, until the massacre occurred. Why are you here in the Uchiha compound? You're not allowed here unless you're an Uchiha or an Uchiha allows it, Sasuke said with smug authority. Sasuke's and Naruto's voice made itself known to the both of them. Kasumi was smiling widely as she looked down at Naruto, who had a neutral look on his face once more. I was the one who allowed Kasumi to come here. Sasuke grunted. You really are nothing like the Uchiha, are you, Naruto? I don't see why you drag our clan name into the mud by hanging out with this loser. Naruto was about to say something, but Kasumi spoke up. Listen here, Kasumi all but yelled. I am not a loser. Just wait till I pass the exams 4 days from now. Then you'll see. You're being allowed to take the exams again? Sasuke smirked. Looks like you're gonna fail again. Just forget about it. You're not fit to be a kunoichi anyway. Sasuke-san? Naruto spoke up this time. We are no one to tell a person what to do and what not to do. A person is free to do whatever they wish. That soft mind of yours is going to be your downfall one day, Naruto. Sasuke said. Do our clan a favor and stop training this loser. No, Naruto replied. Both Sasuke and Kasumi were staring at him for his immediate reply. Kasumi was set up to fail in the exam. As a leaf shinobi, I for one cannot let something like that happen to an upcoming promising kunoichi. Let alone a friend. Kasumi beamed once more at Naruto's words. He really did believe in her. But Sasuke had a different question in his mind. What do you mean set up to fail? Sasuke asked. Naruto inwardly cursed himself for his big-time fuck-up. He needed to handle the situation, but Kasumi went all guns blazing. Don't you know, team? Apparently I was given an exam paper based on the older and tougher questions and I still passed that one. So they're gonna give me another shot at the exams. Sasuke was gritting his teeth. This no-name clanless orphan had passed the written exam based on the previous curriculum. He felt threatened for some reason. That still makes you a loser, Sasuke said, trying to make sure Kasumi loses her temper. But Naruto had enough of this. He grabbed Kasumi by the wrist, who had butterflies in her stomach at the contact. Let's go, Kasumi, we have to work on your bunshin, Naruto said, dragging her away, completely missing the blush on her face. I'll see you later, Sasuke-san. Sasuke stood alone and watched them walk off. Why did he feel so angry at the moment? Sasuke walked away. He has better things to do. Naruto's house. Kasumi, Naruto said with a stern voice as Kasumi shrunk under his vision. You shouldn't have told Sasuke about the exam. You could have lied. I know, but... Kasumi stopped. It's just that whenever someone calls me dope or loser, I feel so angry. I mean, I never really had anyone to help me before. No one other than the Ikarakas and Gigi treated me nicely, but they weren't around all the time. I've always been alone, and when people look down on me I feel like proving them wrong. I understand why you do it, Kasumi, Naruto said. And it's not wrong to feel like that. What I'm saying is that you should control your emotions better. That's what makes a good shinobi. Now we're going to have lunch and then we're going to fix your bunshin problem. I have just a thing that could help you. Really? Kasumi asked with all the innocence she had. Hi, Naruto said with pride. It'll get you to pass the exams easily. Time skip, 4 days later, room 105, Konoha Academy. Okay Kasumi, you passed the written exams and the portion as well, Suzume said as Irika was sitting down. They had seen that Kasumi had considerably improved from what she was 2 weeks ago. They had also been informed by the Hokage about Mizuki as well. They were disgusted that such a person would act so casually with them. Suzume spoke once more, please perform the Academy 3. Naruto was waiting outside the room. That was the one thing Kasumi was more focused on more than anything. He was there, and he promised that he would always be there. Kasumi brimmed with confidence and performed the henge. She turned into a Bito Uchiha. Black spiky hair, goggles over his eyes and blue shinobi clothes. All in all, he even had that goofy grin on his face. Kasumi, Suzume asked, who did you hang out with? Obito Uchiha, she replied. He was Naruto's oldest brother. Suzume and Irika were also informed that Naruto had personally decided to train her for the exams. But the way Kasumi so casually spoke about Naruto had spiked some interest in them. It seems that the two teens had some feelings for each other, and Suzume for one was not going to let that chance go away. Naruha? Suzume said with a teasing grin, are you sure it's not Narukun? Kasumi blushed at the way Suzume implied the suffix at the nickname she had given to Naruto. Okay, Suzume teases Kasumi about her boyfriend later. Kasumi blushed even harder. The tomato look was coming back. Generally Irika would not do this, however after seeing their little interactions at the day of the exams he too concluded that they didn't look at each other as just friends. Naruto and Kasumi were probably going through that denial phase, he assumed. Hi Irika senpai, Suzume said and looked towards the blushing Kasumi. Okay Kasumi, please perform the kawarimi. Kasumi did so and replaced herself with Irika, who nodded satisfyingly. She was taking a whole lot less time than before. Now came the moment of truth. Kasumi, Suzume said, please perform the bunshin technique. Gomen, Suzume sensei, Irika sensei. I can't do bunshin, Kasumi said, and both teachers were a little disappointed. She was a real bag of sunshine, and honestly they liked her. Suzume had known about the Uzumaki clan and probably figured that it was probably because of her high chakra reserves that she was not able to do it. But Kasumi gave an all-knowing grin. I wanted to ask you, is any other form of bunshin acceptable? Well, generally that's not the case, but I think we can allow it. Right, senpai? Suzume looked towards Irika, who nodded. Okay Kasumi, please perform the other type of bunshin you know, Irika said. Kasumi's next action had both of their jaws drop. Kasumi grinned and made a cross-hand seal with both index and middle fingers. This was the technique that Naruto had taught her 4 days ago. The technique that she pulled off quite easily and was more comfortable with. It was a technique, it was considered a forbidden, because of the large amounts of chakra this ninpo drains. However, to someone like Kasumi, this was no problem, as Naruto explained. She had more chakra than Naruto had. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. 4 puffs of smoke appeared beside Kasumi. The smoke faded away and there were 4 identical Kasumis standing beside her. All of them were grinning. Both the Chunin, however, were surprised. Irika more so, because he did not expect a soon-to-be genin to pull off a like that. They were perfect too. He was glad that there were no fanboys around her, otherwise some of them would have fainted out of sheer joy that there was more than one Kasumi. Suzume was shocked too, but to a lesser extent than her fellow senior coworker. She knew that members of the Uzumaki clan could pull this off. Their chakra capacities and densities were so large their former village Yuzushiobikyu was called the Village of Longevity due to their large lifespans. Both Suzume and Irika were broken out of their stupor when every Kasumi asked the same question at the same time. So did I pass? Outside room 105, Konoha Academy. Naruto had gone to get some popsicles for both himself and Kasumi. It was a mint-flavored one, and considering the somewhat increased heat of the day, it would be the perfect treat to have. Unfortunately, there was only one, and he decided to get one for Kasumi. Of course, he would have gotten there sooner if it wasn't for some annoying fangirls that always seemed to have him on an invisible radar. He sighed and curtly refused them, and they were even more swooned, claiming how he was such a nice guy. Naruto sighed even more and once again felt pity for Sasuke, knowing that he too had more of them. Why couldn't the girls be more like Kasumi? She was pretty and worked hard at the same time? Wait, pretty? I have got to stop thinking like that. What if she stops being friends with me? But all thoughts aside, he was going near the door of room 105 once more. He had full faith in Kasumi's abilities and knew that she would pass the exam. But a part of him was deeply worried about her. He could not really explain the magnetic pull he felt towards Kasumi. It almost felt like right now she was the center of the world. His world. He was really afraid. What if something happened to her in the future? What if she gets in a situation that... The door was slammed open and an orange and black blur made its way onto Naruto's chest. He fell down and felt something holding him down. Luckily enough, he was still holding the popsicle perfectly. It did not fall down. His vision then went on to his own chest. A familiar mop of blonde hair with red streaks was on his chest. Her hands were clinging onto Naruto's shirt as she tried to bury herself deeper into his chest. It was getting wet. Now Naruto was getting worried. Did she not pass the test? How? They worked so hard. Naru, Kasumi whimpered. Naruto felt his heart beating faster. Again there was her whimpering voice. A tone that he did not want to hear. But he knew she was going to say something else. She raised her head from his chest and looked deep into his eyes. How he loved to see those violet orbs of hers. She too had become fascinated by the sheer ocean that was his eyes. They would get lost and time would slow down for them. He then saw that some tears were leaking out of the sides of her eyes. But underneath that, her lips had twitched upwards. She was smiling. I did it, Naru, Kasumi said in whispers. He was still on the ground and Kasumi was on top of him. I finally did it, Naru. I'm a kunoichi now. She then buried herself into his chest again. She wanted to savor the warmth that was emanating from his body. Naruto felt his entire body relax at the smile and small whispers that Kasumi let out. Instinctively, his left arm went around her back and latched itself lightly onto Kasumi's neck, and she relaxed after that happened. Both were in complete bliss, not even realizing the inappropriateness of the position they were in. She was straddled onto his waist as their legs were crossed. Oh my, a feminine voice echoed throughout the whole hall. Susan was standing looking over at them. She was smiling at the scene before. It was taking all she had not to yell kawaii from the cute little scene that was being displayed right before her. You two should get a room. Immediate reactions from those words followed, and two very polarized reactions were. Kasumi eeped and jumped away from Naruto, while an atomic blush exploded all over her face. Now she did look like a tomato. Naruto also had a large blush on his face and was visibly stuttering while trying to recover from the situation. Susan knew that the awkwardness of the situation would be well over 9,000 if she did not go away right now, so she happily skipped away while chirping about Naruto and Kasumi sitting on a tree. She made it quite audible so they could hear it. Naruto stood up and was still blushing. He didn't want to let go of Kasumi. In fact, he wanted to keep holding her. It felt so right. It felt so perfect. All his pain and worries had washed away when it came to Kasumi. If his world was covered in darkness before after the massacre happened, then Kasumi was the sun that rose afterwards and brought forth the light that made him feel peaceful again. He also felt occasional flutters in his heart when he was with her. Her smile right now was probably the most beautiful thing he had ever seen in his life. Kasumi was still in tomato mode. She couldn't believe that she had hugged Naruto like that in the middle of the hall like that. It was something she could not describe. Naruto was the first person who had become her friend. The first person who lived with her. Sure, he was a slave driver when it came to training, but she remembered how she had drained out completely a few days ago, and Naruto had piggybacked her to their home. She was awake, but she pretended not to be. She liked it when Naruto was in contact with her body. But she also felt really shy around him. She never felt like this towards anyone. She did get particularly angry when the fangirls would look towards her. Naru. Wait, my Naru? Ayaha. Why does he make me feel like this? Ano, Kasumi, Naruto said lightly while he was still blushing. Congratulations on passing the exam. Here. Naruto then extended the mint-flavored popsicle towards her. Kasumi was surprised. Sure, he did not let her do a damn chore at their house until she terrifyingly ensured that she too will do them, but he had enough faith in her that he would pass, so he went to get her a popsicle. There was only one, and she assumed that he did not get one, as Naruto would rarely eat anything without her. Arigato Nara, she said lightly and took the popsicle. It had 2 sticks for holding and Kasumi broke it in 2 and handed one to Naruto. Here, Naru. I don't want to eat it alone. Naruto looked up and saw Kasumi's face once more. She was wearing that new orange outfit. It was a darker shade of orange and had some black in it. Basically Naruto's clothes from Shippuden. Her eight was tied to her forehead, while the goggles were hanging around her neck. Her twin pigtails were there as well. Her violet eyes were shining with happiness as the smile was still on her face. Naruto smiled as well. He took the halved popsicle. Arigato Sumi. Naruto gave her a nickname as well and Kasumi felt her heart beat rapidly now. Blood flowed to her cheeks once more. She was so happy now that she had forgotten about the fact that she had passed the shinobi exam. Shouldn't we go and visit Hokage-sama? Naruto asked. The old man was more than helpful throughout their lives and this was the least they could do right now. I'm sure he'd love to see you wearing that headband. Hi. Gigi's gonna be happy when he sees this, Kasumi said while she tapped her eight. Both of them then walked on to the Hokage's office. The civilians were looking at them with awe. They were walking very closely and each of them had one half of a popsicle they were no doubt sharing. Just a little step to either side then their bodies would be brushed against each other. Naruto was smiling and this made his features look even more better as his usual fangirls squealed out of sheer delight, and some late-teen girls along with some mid-20s women blushed at the sight of him smiling. He looked so calm and cute in their eyes. Of course the same could be said in Kasumi's case because she looked absolutely amazing with that smile on her face. Her fanboys had swooned even more as some older chunin were smirking at seeing such a cute girl. Then there were the jealous glares from the opposite sexes. The males glared at Naruto, and the females glared at Kasumi. However, one similar conclusion was reached by both parties. They were one damn cute couple. Hokage's office. Hiruzen Sarutobi was one happy man right now. Not only did he finish that damned paperwork but he also got to see 2 of the next generation of Konoha's shinobi. He was really proud of the fact that Kasumi had severely improved with Naruto's help. Then of course there was the situation between the 2 youngsters and he wanted to take a jab. So Kasumi-chan, Sarutobi said as he was trying to keep a good poker face. Now that your training with Naruto-kun is complete I guess you're ready to move back into your old apartment one? He got the reaction he was expecting. Not the reaction he was hoping for. Kasumi felt a pang of pain in her heart as she looked towards Naruto. Am I going away from him? She did not want to. She finally had someone. Someone who was always there for her. He was there when she woke up. He was there when she went to sleep. True, she was not an uchiha and had no right to live there but Naruto had allowed it. Was she really going to move away from the one person she could not imagine her life without at the moment? The young Uzumaki girl kept asking herself as she found those familiar azure eyes staring into her own. Naruto nearly felt like he was in Itachi's again, yet different. What Itachi had shown him were illusions. Illusions that made him feel it was real, but this was real. That's what made this feel so much more horrible. After his mother died, all he had was his brother. Then came his Mikoto-chan and Tachi. Sure, they weren't always with him, but they made sure to visit him at least once a day. Then Itachi murdered the entire Uchiha clan. He had lost everything. Until Kasumi came, that is. She changed everything. He had also lost her for more than 5 years because of his own foolishness, and the last 2 weeks with her had made one thing certain in his mind. He needed her. He too had turned towards her and looked at her just like him. They were looking at each other, as the pain of being separated had landed itself onto their eyes. Hiruzen smiled knowing what their answers would be. Ever since a few years ago, the civilian council had become neutral to Kasumi Uzumaki's case, and he was grateful. He had regained some of the power he had lost to them and asserted that he was indeed the Hokage, and his word was final. Though he did wonder what had happened that caused that council to become so neutral to the very same person whose head they called for on multiple occasions. He had thought of a conclusion in his mind but he wanted to see how this plays out. Ahem, Sarutobi brought back their attention. So Kasumi-chan, are you ready to go back into that apartment of yours? Kasumi remained silent, while her eyes found the ground very interesting at the moment. She then muttered something that both Naruto and Sarutobi could not hear. Gomen, Kasumi-chan, I could not hear you. Could you repeat that? Sarutobi asked. Naruto was having a plethora of scenarios being played out in his mind. He knew that he shouldn't let his emotions get the better of him, and how he had become so close to Kasumi would hinder his regular training. But he'd be damned before he let her go. If she says yes, then he'll try to make her reconsider her decision. But he would not force her. He could never do that to her. Except for training, that's a different case. I said no? Kasumi said lightly as Hiruzen smiled at her answer. Naruto felt like flying right now, and a stupid grin had made its way to his face, but he suppressed it to a smile. His emotional masking was completely useless around Kasumi. I want to train with Naruto. There are still 2 more months before I get placed on a team. Naruto was still smiling. 2 months. 2 more months with Kasumi living with him. He was happy with that. More than happy. I see, Hiruzen said. He still wasn't done. What about after that? When will the team placements begin and your career as a kunoichi begins? Kasumi wanted to reply, but she knew no matter what she said would come out in a wrong way and was trying to construct her reasoned sentence, but Naruto beat her to it. Hokage-sama, if I may speak. Naruto said something completely serious, and Sarutobi nodded. The entire Uchiha compound is empty, and I live alone in my house, which can no doubt house more than 4 people. I have no problems with Kasumi staying there. Even after the team placements. Sarutobi pretended to be in deep thought. I see, but let's see what Kasumi-chan thinks. Do you want to? Hi. I have no problem living with Naruto-bayo. Kasumi yelled out and blushed in embarrassment. Naruto also blushed all the more because he found that verbal tick of hers endearing. I see. Well, I don't think that will be a problem. Very well, you are free to leave. Come back tomorrow for your shinobi registration, Kasumi-chan. We'll see about your move to the compound matter tomorrow. Naruto bowed his head to Sandaime while Kasumi hugged the old man and Sarutobi too hugged his pseudo-granddaughter. They were walking out of the office when Sarutobi decided to do something smart, much to his dismay. Oh, and don't do anything I wouldn't do. Young love these days. Thwack. A ramen cup had Sarutobi in the face once more as Naruto tried to look away with a blush, and a completely red-faced Kasumi had thrown the ramen cup at his face. Naruto's house, Uchiha clan compound. The 2 residents of the house had entered. There was once more life present in the house. However, the situation is a bit different now. This house would now have 2 permanent members instead of the lonesome one as it was for so many years. It was just going to be dusk now. Time had flown by quickly. Naruto spoke up first. Kasumi. He said softly as he felt completely relaxed. Go and wash up. I'll make something up for us. Oka. Naruto could not finish the sentence as Kasumi had hugged him once more. Arigato Naru. Kasumi said in a very low tone. She was not sure why she was hugging him. She only knew that she had to. Something inside her brain was commanding her to. Her arms had tightly wrapped themselves around his waist as her head rested peacefully on his chest. She was smiling at being so close to him. Thank you for being here. For being a friend. You're the first person to accept me for who I am. Even after finding out what I have in me. Sumi. Naruto said softly as one of his arms wrapped around her, and the other arm was on the back of her head. Her frame fitted completely into him. They were tightly held by each other, as if one of them would disappear if they were let go right now. You never have to thank me for anything. If anything, I should thank you. You were my first friend. I was so alone after the clan massacre. I forgot how to smile. You made me feel happy again. So thank you? Kasumi lifted her head to see Naruto's face again. Those kind baby orbs that completely mesmerized her to no end. He too stared back at those violet eyes that entranced him ever since their first meeting. Kasumi then did something he did not expect, and Kasumi too did not know she was going to do that. She kissed his cheek. She was waiting for something. Any reaction at all. Surprise. Fear. Anger. Anything. She then felt Naruto's lips lightly kiss her forehead, and a great swell in her heart began. Both were smiling and hugged each other again. Kasumi's face was once again on Naruto's chest as his chin rested on the top of her head. This feels good, doesn't it? Naruto asked a bit nervously. His previous action would have driven her away, and he asked this to wash away any doubt he had. Hi. It does. Kasumi whispered once more as either left each other's embrace. 2 months later, Naruto's house, Uchiha clan compound. Sumi, come on. Naruto called out while he stood outside her door. He was wearing his casual clothes and was waiting for her. They would have breakfast, and then train a little bit. Over the last 2 months, ever since Naruto had hugged Kasumi and kissed her forehead, there was a visible change in him. He was smiling a whole lot more for some reason. However, the pair had slowly broken away from the hug afterwards after realizing the severe meaning behind their physical contact. Kasumi, on the other hand, had absolutely adored her roommate. She was always cheerful, but now she couldn't imagine her life without her raven-haired enigma. Of course, when he trained her, that was when she could definitely live without him. Seriously, he made her climb trees with her feet, saying that her chakra control was horrible. Now, in her defense, she had graduated from the academy and was considered the top 6th student overall. How she had done so well with the written exam was still something that baffled Naruto, and he came to the only reasonable conclusion he could come to. Kasumi was by all rights a genius of sorts. Sure, she was loud and wore bright orange clothing. She also packed a mean right hook that many of her fanboys had endured, but aren't geniuses flawed in their own unique ways? Naru. Kasumi opened the door and was still in her pajamas with a sleeping hat on top, no less. She was rubbing her eyes. Why do we have to wake up so early today? Well, that katana you ordered will arrive today, so I thought that. Oh yeah. Kasumi gleamed up. Naruto had given her his own tanto as he had decided to switch to a katana. Kasumi began training with the tanto for basics, but Naruto immediately saw that her stance and posture were suited for a katana. He had ordered one for her and one for himself, as he had copied contents on from the stone chamber. By now all the contents in the chamber save the tablet itself was destroyed. Naruto had successfully copied the contents of every scroll there was in the chamber, and burned away the evidence so no one could get their hands on clan secrets anymore. He didn't trust Sasuke for some reason. If the boy proved that he could control his hatred, then Naruto would willingly share with him. But for now all of them would be under his protective Fuinjutsu seals. As always, Fuinjutsu proved to be just as useful as his Sharingan, as he had finally achieved level 5 a few days ago. He would have progressed more, but he also had to train his Sharingan and his other 4 elemental affinities. Kasumi had noticed him drawing out kunai from scrolls and became interested. Just like her blood trait, she took to like a fish to water. She thought it was really cool. Naruto had also started selling high-quality storage scrolls to the Higurashi weapon accessories at a good price, and it was from there he saw the large range of weapons and orders that store had made. Needless to say, Naruto had placed his order along with Kasumi's from there. Their weapons would be coming from the land of iron itself. Then Kasumi remembered something that was equally interesting to her. Wait, then your katana and those weird things will come today too, right? Yeah. I am really looking forward to it, Naruto said as a smile had taken Kyuubi's words into his mind and developed a hypothesis that the branch side of the Uchiha clan had indeed descended from Madara. By that logic, perhaps Kagami Uchiha, his grandfather, who was also from the branch clan, must have been descended from Madara somehow. Naruto then found a growing interest in Madara's unique old weapon tactics. He used a gunbai, a war fan that even during the warring states was uncommon unless you were a highly proficient wind-style user. From what he learned, Madara and his gunbai had killed too many people to count. Naruto then started studying about the gunbai and saw that apart from the high-impact winds it caused, it could also be used as a defense. However, the full use of it would come out if you had a mid-long range weapon with you. Naruto, unknowingly, had decided that his other weapon would be a Kuzurigama. Both weapon specifications had been taken by Sona Higurashi, and he had promised them nothing but the best. Naru, what's for breakfast? Is it ramen? She excitedly asked as Naruto poked her forehead with his index and middle fingers. Maybe this was a thing for Uchiha who were free or not completely tainted by their own arrogance. She rubbed her forehead. She both hated and liked it when Naruto did it. Sorry, Sumi. Maybe we'll have ramen for breakfast some other day. Naruto smiled and told her to wash up. Naruto and Kasumi then both took showers separately, and decided that they would go through their usual training. Uchiha clan training ground. You have to do better than that, Sumi, Naruto said as he blocked another one of Kasumi's blows. He had left a shadow clone to tail Sasuke in case he suddenly decided to pop up as he had chosen in the last 2 months. His reactions towards the both of them had changed. Well, not to Naruto. They were simply clansmen. Nothing more, nothing less. They did care about each other to some extent, but there was no actual bond or kinship between them. But his reactions towards Kasumi had changed over the last 2 months, and he would give her some strange looks when he thought that Naruto wasn't looking. Too bad for him, Naruto did see it. Ever since then he made sure to take some assurances against Sasuke. The look he had in his eyes towards Kasumi was both unhealthy and to some extent repulsive. Futon, Yadama Henshin Bakuha. Kasumi let out a great gust of wind to deflect the shuriken Naruto had launched towards her. 2 months back, Naruto had decided to reveal the secret of the Kage Bunshin to Kasumi, and she was glad when she learned about the memory relay system. Out of sheer curiosity, Naruto had given her a chakra paper to determine her abilities. To his surprise, the paper split into 4 parts. One of the papers completely shredded itself, one of them became dripping wet, and the last part became dirt itself. Kasumi had ridiculous amounts of affinities for wind, water, and earth. So Naruto began training her on water walking, and she was getting the hang of it pretty soon. Next came the leaf splitting exercise. That had taken a lot of time, but he needed to be patient with her. After she finally learned how to split leaves easily, he gave her the wet leaf exercise, where she would perform the leaf exercise with the leaf on her forehead as she would try to make it wet via her chakra output. The leaf became dripping wet, and his theory was proven correct. Kasumi to some extent could absorb the water molecules in the air. He then decided he could teach her some on wind and water first. Earth was something he was absolutely oblivious to, so he thought he would get her some later on. Naruto and Kasumi got in close contact again as they both had kunai in hand and tried to hit each other's vital points, teaching her about the vital points in the human body. Naruto had to admit that if Kasumi had proper training from the time he had started, she would be on his level, no doubt. She was a hard worker, and she had large chakra reserves to back her up. Finally, Kasumi's kunai were disarmed and she was forced to draw out her tanto. She needed more practice as Naruto was evading every strike. Funny how 2 months of training had improved her so much. Although she sucked at, and Naruto did just that as he trapped her in one. He then sat down and started to count how long she would take to break free from this one. It took about 2 seconds, and Naruto was glad that she had learned, but for some reason she seemed angry right now. Her hair was flowing upwards, and if Naruto didn't know any better, he'd say that he could see her hair take the shape of the tails of the Kyuubi. He remembered how Kasumi told him that she absolutely hates. Kasumi started going through hand seals at a good rate and finished it. Suetun, Mizu Pareto, a bullet-shaped body of water, released itself from Kasumi's mouth and headed towards Naruto, who dodged it and threw a couple of kunai at her. He went through hand seals and uttered the name of his ninpo, kunai kage bunshin no jutsu. 6 kunai became 18 as they launched themselves towards Kasumi. She used a kawarimi and replaced herself with the mightiest item in the elemental nations, a log. Naruto then felt Kasumi coming towards him, and he turned around to grab Kasumi by the wrist as he twisted her arm and held a kunai to her throat. "I win," Naruto said, and Kasumi pouted before she had a trick in her mind and decided to use it. She was going to feel bad about it, but she would win. "Naruto-in," she said with a moan, and Naruto immediately faltered and let go of her, and a red-painted blush exploded on his face. His brain stopped working, and soon he found himself on the ground with Kasumi on top of him. Now she held the kunai at his throat. "I will win this time, Nare," Kasumi said with an infectious grin. Naruto, still blushing, could not believe he fell for a trick like that. Then again, Kasumi may be the only girl who could use that trick against him. "That wasn't fair, Sumi," Naruto said while looking at the girl who was still hovering over him as he allowed himself to get lost at her appearance. "Shinobi don't play fair. They believe and apply deception. You said it yourself, Naru," Kasumi said as she realized the small distance between them. Naruto, in the back of his mind, was proud that she had used an underhanded trick to put the situation in her favor. Slowly but surely, both teens were starting to close the distance between their faces. Then Naruto stopped all of a sudden. "Sasuke's coming here." Whatever moment they were going to have was ruined by the clone dispelling, as both of them now had a frown marred on their faces. Naruto was a bit angry because he did tell himself that he was sure he held feelings for Kasumi, and he was sure that she also felt somewhat drawn to him. The fact that he found her to be the most beautiful girl he had ever come across certainly did not help the situation either. He did not admit it to her because he was afraid that she would reject him for being like one of her fanboys. Naruto could handle everything, but he was pretty sure he could not bear it if Kasumi refused his friendship because of this development. Meanwhile, Kasumi was angry. She had felt his lips on her forehead, and it felt so good to her. She wanted to say something about her budding feelings towards her friend. Unfortunately, she too had the same predicament that Naruto was suffering from. I mean, the guy is from the Uchiha clan, and above all else he did not like fangirls at all. Sasuke would ignore him, but Naruto would flat out say no and occasionally glare at them. What if he rejects her altogether and also breaks off their friendship because of the awkwardness that would develop? She, however, felt that Naruto too was attracted to her. An annoying grunt came out of nowhere as Naruto and Kasumi finished picking up their ninja tools from the ground. Sasuke Uchiha had arrived with all the might and pride he could muster. The air of arrogance and confidence around him was wickedly blowing. What were you two doing? Nothing in particular, Sasuke-san. Naruto replied, knowing that Kasumi would most likely start their conversation with team and then blow her metaphorical fuse. Just a little spar. Can the dobe even keep up with you? Sasuke asked as he had a smirk on his face. Team, Kasumi said while gritting her teeth, you've got some nerve. HN. Sasuke grunted once more. What's wrong, dobe? Does the truth sting too much? Sasuke-san, Naruto spoke up as he had an annoyed look. Why do you keep calling her dobe? I understand you two can't get along, but isn't this a tad bit too far for both of you? No, both of them replied and went back to glaring at each other. Naruto sighed and simply waited for something to happen. If these two ended up on a team together, that would be one severe dysfunctional team. Somewhere in the hidden leaf, an old man smoking a pipe came to a conclusion that he had made the right decisions. Naruto, Sasuke said while looking towards said person, remember that you're an Uchiha. Don't lose the pride of the clan. I am an Uchiha. But I am also a shinobi of the leaf. As are you, Sasuke-san. You'd do well to remember that. Naruto said. Usually he tolerated Sasuke, but he was not in the mood for it today. What did you say? Sasuke yelled as he got angry. I am the Uchiha clan head, branch member. Remember, yo. You may be from the main house, Sasuke-san. Naruto cut him off, but you are not clan head yet. Not until you become a or you turn 17 while staying in the leaf. Take that, team. Kasumi spoke, who was happy that Naruto was putting duck butt in his place. Naruto. Sasuke said the word as if it was poison on his tongue. You and that stupid bitch. Sasuke felt the air from his body leave and the pressure on his body increased. What is this? I feel suffocated. I can't move. His vision looked towards Naruto, who had a murderous look in his eyes and incidentally had a kunai in his hand. Sasuke had fallen victim to Naruto's killing intent, and right now Sasuke had half a mind to kill himself just to make this foreboding feeling go away. Then the pressure of the killing intent stopped, and he saw that Kasumi was hugging Naruto from behind to make him stop. Her arms had slid around his waist, as her chest latched itself onto Naruto's back. Naruto felt a bit calmer. Kasumi too must have been affected by his ki. He looked towards Sasuke with a stoic look. Sasuke hated that look. It was the same damn look Itachi had on his face. Naruto's blue eyes seemed absolutely devoid of emotions as it pierced Sasuke's physical frame. Sasuke-san? Naruto said with a voice hinting no particular tone, his face as blank as it could be. I highly recommend you do not insult Kasumi like that ever again in my presence. She is very dear to me and I hate it when someone demeans her. He then gently grabbed Kasumi's hand that was on his chest and rubbed it a bit. Her tense body relaxed a bit as she slowly let go. I will see you tomorrow at the academy, Sasuke-san. I hope we can move past this little incident. I apologize, but please do not instigate me again. Naruto then took Kasumi's hand into his. Ikesumi. Hi Naru, Kasumi said as she lightly smiled. The duo then started to disappear and shrink from Sasuke's point of view. Sasuke felt angry. Why? Sasuke asked out loud. Why does he have someone to lean on? Even now? How is he stronger than me? Naruto. Why is Kasumi with you in the first place? What happened between you two? Sasuke felt some jealousy as he uttered the last sentence. For some reason he did not like the fact that a girl like Kasumi was with Naruto in the first place. Sure, she was the dead last, a failure, but she seemed to work harder than the average genin, and she was pretty too, Sasuke would admit that. Then why was someone like her with someone like Naruto? A member of the branch clan. He left to go resolve his mind. He hated it when he saw those two together. Sasuke decided to train to take his mind somewhere else, though he knew that it would still bother him later on. Naruto's house. Why do I have to make it even better? Kasumi whined to Naruto. She was trying to make a simple storage scroll with the pen. It was frustrating for her because she felt a natural pull towards this art, and the fact that Naruto could so easily apply Fuinjutsu so elegantly made her a bit jealous. She tried doing it again, but she felt some sort of block whenever she tried it. Naruto said as he observed the array. It was good, but the calligraphy would need to be smoother. A strange idea cracked in his mind as he went back to his room. He came later with a brush and gave it to Kasumi. Kasumi. Try it with this. His hypothesis was proven correct as Kasumi displayed brilliance with the brush. Hell, she was better at it than him, and he was jealous now. Maybe it's her Uzumaki blood. I wonder if all Uzumakis are ramen freaks though? Naruto shuddered at the thought. Sure, Kasumi may now have a healthy diet after living with Naruto for 2 months, but she would still have some ramen every day. But Naruto was smart not to voice it. You never mess with Kasumi's ramen. But Naruto was once more brought into reality, as her voice reached his ears again. Naru! Kasumi yelled as Naruto focused his vision from the scroll to her as she spoke again. You really need to stop phasing out of a conversation. Yeah. I do that a lot, Naruto admitted. Apparently it was his family trait. He remembered Shursui and his mother doing that too. There he goes doing that again. Anyways, Sumi. Let's see it then. Kasumi then placed the shuriken that Naruto had onto the sealing array and performing 3 hand seals sealed it into the scroll. Her Funya no Jutsu was a success. She was jumping up and down after Naruto told her that she was a master of level 1. Then Naruto immediately placed a larger scroll in front of her. She stopped in the middle of a pose and looked at the scroll with a deadpan expression. And now we can begin level 2, Naruto said with one of his sadistic smiles. Kasumi paled and lost all color in her face. The last time he smiled like that was when he left her in the forest of death a month ago. He called it survival training. No genin should ever have to go through that ever. At the same time, old man Sarutobi sneezed as he thought he had another great idea in his mind. Naru, can we take a breya? First rule of Naruto's training. Naruto immediately cut her off and she waved her hands around in the air comically. Hi! Let's begin level 2, Kasumi said immediately. Training was the only thing that Kasumi feared about him. Other than that, she pretty much had Naruto wrapped around her finger. Higurashi Weapon Store. Kasumi was squealing in delight as she saw Sona bring her blade from the back room. The sheath of the blade was white with red Uzumaki swirls on it. The guard of the blade had a flower-like shape as the handle was white and black. Slowly, Kasumi started to unsheath her blade. It was shining as the stars and her eyes shone even brighter. Then the full view of the blade came. The blade itself was made of chakra-inducing metal. The color of the blade was silver and seemed as if it could cut if you looked too hard at it. The length of the blade was exactly 60 centimeters, the standard size that had come to pass for many generations. In addition to that, Naruto had also placed orders for several customized chakra metal kunai for both him and Kasumi. She took all of it as she kept bowing her head to Sona for bringing such great gifts to her life. Sona couldn't help but sweat drop at her actions and chuckled at the same time. Sona Higurashi's mind was just as sharp as his weapons. This was the same man who had made the custom kunai for Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage, and made the katana for Kushina Uzumaki, the Crimson Death. He knew exactly who Kasumi really was. Imagine his surprise and joy when Kasumi had entered his shop along with a friend to order a katana. Nostalgia had hit him with full force, as he remembered 2 of his customers and friends. He had promised himself that he would get Kasumi one of the best katanas he could bring. But the main surprise came when he found out that her friend was one of the last 2 Uchiha in the village. Naruto Uchiha. The boy seemed to be unlike most Uchiha. He had immediately proven this when he smiled. The only Uchiha he ever saw smiling were Old Man Kagami and Naruto's family. He knew that the boy was also treated like a pariah initially, but it seemed that like his family before him, he too was different from all the Uchiha. But he proved himself to be a true enigma when he made an order that Sona never thought he would get. A gunbai. Said gunbai was now in Naruto's hands as he observed the gunbai. It was white in color with a black outline and had 3 blue tomo at each inner corner on the ends. He checked every nook and corner. It was perfect. There was a chain mail attached to it as well. Naruto took it out back and tried to channel some wind chakra through it. A great gust of wind broke through and shredded some small bushes nearby. He then observed the sturdiness of the gunbai as he repeatedly stabbed the kunai with wind chakra laced across it. Not a single dent. It was perfect. Apparently the gunbai itself was especially crafted, as Muramasa Seijiro, the man who forged all their weapons, had sent a letter to Sona explaining that this gunbai was one of a kind. It was carved from a unique spirit tree, which itself was rare these days, from which ritualistic instruments are made. Next came the Kozurigama. The Kama blade itself was made of chakra metal, and just like his ordered specification, the chain attached to it could be removed and there was no added weight or sharp weapon at the end. Naruto had planned to use it as both a kama and then attach the chain at the end to his gunbai once he got good at it. Naruto was testing it out as well as he could. He did not have any practice with any weapon and noted that he should send about 40 clones to work on it. He didn't want to lose too much energy, as he knew that Kasumi would be wanting to learn. Speaking of, Soma then gave Naruto his katana. The sheath was black. The guard was a shade of color that resembled both gray and blue. The handle of the blade was black and dark purple, completely being immersed into each other. Naruto slowly started to unsheath his blade just like Kasumi. His blade itself was pitch black, but noticed something very unique about it. There was a slight tint of red on the sharp edge. It seemed to absorb the light surrounding the place as if it wanted to be unleashed upon its enemies and spill the blood while losing its purity. The blade itself was around 70 centimeters. One thing that this blade had in common with Kasumi's is that both were much heavier than conventional katana. Soma then handed them 4 large scrolls. It seemed that Muramasa Seijiro, the master of weapons, the man who forged the 2 blades, had sent 2 sword styles and scrolls as well. In his letter, Muramasa explained that he had fallen in love with the 2 katana he had forged and considered both of them his finest works, so he had sent 2 sword styles that he thought would be perfect for the 2 swords. He was also the one who personally made the gunbai and kusarigama. He had also sent scrolls on those, saying that not many people use a gunbai anymore, and he was happy making such a weapon, and the kusarigama scroll was an added bonus. Kasumi had immediately named her sword Jinken. Naruto, on the other hand, decided to name his Haidokiri. Receiving their blades, weapons and scrolls, they paid for their items and got a pretty good discount too, despite the good amount of money that had been spent. Hours later, Naruto's house backyard. Both Naruto and Kasumi were training with their weapons. Both had their katana in hand and were practicing the starting katas for their swords. Much to his surprise and disappointment, Kasumi was picking up faster than he was. Seriously, she was starting to get a head start on Naruto, and he couldn't help but be happy at Kasumi's progress. It seemed that she would be undoubtedly better than him with, and eventually, when the time came, she would surpass him in Fuinjutsu. After hours of practicing, they had dinner, and were sitting in the drawing room. Naruto's clones made it back with the gunbai and kusarigama, which Kasumi had named Homaru and Shikyo. The clones dispelled Naruto, and he received the knowledge from his clones. He was smiling a bit as he saw that he had some sort of natural talent towards the gunbai and kusarigama. And a cyber cookie made of 1s and 0s to those who can figure out the origin of the names without Google ing it. Make sure you answer in the review. Say Neru, Kasumi asked as she was devouring a cup of instant ramen which was content to be eaten in such a grueling fashion. Who do you think we'll end up with? That'll be hard to say considering there's an odd number now. It might so happen that we might end up in a team of 4 along with Sasuke, Naruto said in a calm manner. Eh? Kasumi exclaimed as she had wide eyes and a large tick mark on her head. Why do we have to be on that times team? Well, that's because I'm the only one Sasuke gets along with, Naruto stated. So it's only reasonable that they put me on the same team as him. Also, they always pair up the worst and best students. Considering that you passed the last in chronological order, you will be placed on a team with me and Sasuke. Okay, but can you tell me why you try to be nice to that team? Kasumi asked. She saw that Naruto had always tried to be kind with Sasuke and even smiled around him to lift his mood a bit. But the emo king would never let his shell of indifference crack. Well, that's because I owe his mother a lot, Naruto said with a sad smile as he remembered Mikoto Oba-chan. After Chan died, she was basically my mother in all but blood. She used to visit me every day and even cook for me even though I knew how to. I had a bad fever once, and she stayed with Sasuke for 3 days straight. Even though he was nice back then, he still kept me at arm's length. I don't blame him though. Fugaka-san was a strict man. You never told me that, Kasumi said. Sasuke's mother sounded like such a nice person. Why couldn't the emo be more like his mom? Well, you never asked? Naruto said as he scratched the back of his head. That is why I want to help Sasuke. He wasn't so broody before, and ever since Itachi. Naruto hesitated as he remembered his older brother figure and the sacrifice he chose to make to keep this village safe. For a moment, just a moment of hatred lurked deep inside Naruto, but it stopped as he felt Kasumi look at him with her piercing violet eyes. Kasumi, that is why I am asking you. If we do end up on a team with Sasuke, please try to get along with him a bit. For me. He finished it as he tilted his head. Okay, Kasumi said with a whine. Then she had a cheerful expression on her face as she spoke again. At least you'll be there, Neru. I really don't want to be on a team with anyone else. The same is for me, Sumi, Naruto said with a smile as a pink color splattered across Kasumi's cheeks. But I wonder who our third teammate will be? Anyone but Ino, Kasumi yelled. She's always trying to push herself on you. That stupid flat chest. Kasumi! Naruto exclaimed. What did I say about cursing? Grumbles sorry, Kasumi said as she had a cute pout on her face. You know you look cute when you do that, Naruto said. This was going to be payback for this morning. It worked as Kasumi was slowly taking the steps to enter tomato mode. And Naru! Don't say things like that, Kasumi said out loud as redness began to change the color of her creamy light skin. No, not cute, Naruto said as his face slowly leaned a bit towards Kasumi's, but there was still some distance between their noses. You look beautiful, Sumi-chan. He said the last part with a husky voice. The atomic redness exploded as she instinctively slapped Naruto away, who crashed behind the couch they were sitting on. She then started to worry as she had supposedly killed her Naruto again, and began to violently shake him to wake him up. But then I noticed another thing. He had fallen asleep. He had always made the meals and never let her do chores most of the time. He also took the time to train her and pick up his own training. She knew that he had sent his clones to train in the forest. Naruto also had some secrets, which he kept hidden from her. Kasumi didn't mind. Every person is entitled to their own secrets. She knew how much pain he had gone through from losing his family and his clan. But he never showed the pain to anyone. Only Kasumi knew how much sadness and grief repressed themselves in those eyes of his. As Kasumi tried to pick him up, she felt the tone of his body and blushed as her fingers slowly traced the muscles of his body over his shirt. He was really well toned. It wasn't overly bulky, nor was he scrawny like Sasuke. His body seemed in balance between the two. She couldn't help but remember the time when she saw him shirtless. It felt so wrong and right at the same time. Bad Kasumi. He helps you and trains you. All you want to think about is what he looks like naked? I mean shirtless? Damn you, I am Nei-chan. She picked him and saw that he was much heavier than he lets on. His speed stated otherwise. Kasumi took off her weights first, and then took Naruto to his bedroom. He placed him on his bed and placed the sheets over him. The lights were off and the pale moonlight was making its presence known in the room. It glowed off Naruto's face as his raven hair seemed to have a contrast look compared to the dim shine that was there. He looked so calm and peaceful right now. Kasumi stood there and watched with her violet eyes. She was looking at the person who saved her dignity and took her in while asking for nothing in return. He wasn't even snoring. Kasumi lightly traced his cheeks as she sat down on her knees beside the bed. Naru-kun, Kasumi said, knowing full well that Naruto was asleep. She could never say this to him while he was awake. Always push yourself so much so I don't have to worry. Sai, what did I do to deserve your help? You're too kind to me. Sweet dreams. My Naru-kun. Kasumi leaned forward as she kissed his cheek, and to her delight, Naruto gave a light smile in his sleep. The smile on his face made blood rush to her cheeks as she realized what she had done. The last time she had kissed him was 2 months ago, when he held her tightly. It was the best feeling she had ever felt. She felt complete. She changed into her cute pink pajamas and let the sweet embrace of sleep take her into blissful unconsciousness. All the graduates had arrived and were seated in the benches. All the clan heirs and heiresses were sitting down with the civilian children. All except 2. Then the door slid open and 2 teens walked in. Naruto and Kasumi. Immediately there was deafening silence echoing throughout the room. Then 1. 2 audible gasps later the glass broke as the fanboys and fangirls yelled out their surprise. One shared thought. One single word. One word that made perfect sense in their minds at the moment. Naruto and Kasumi both sighed together as they went down and sat down with Hinata Hyuga. Apparently the girl had gained some confidence since the graduation and lost some of her stuttering as she talked with her friend Kasumi and her classmate Kasumi. Why is Kasumi-chan with Naruto? Damn that Naruto! Naruto-kun sob et too? That lucky bitch. Naruto couldn't help but chuckle at their reactions. Even Ino Yamanaka was loudly expressing her shock. She then claimed that Kasumi was her rival in love. Whatever the hell that meant. But it was Sakura Haruno, who was sitting with Ino and Sasuke Uchiha, much to his ire, who asked the question of the day. Kasumi Baka. Sakura screeched. Why are you here? Only those who passed the exams are allowed to be here. Talk to the head banshee. Kasumi exclaimed as she pointed to her 8. I was allowed to take the exams again and I passed because they mixed up my exam papers. A good lie. Naruto had taught her to lie a good deal as well. Apparently she was good at it too. Kasumi-chan, Kiba said with an eager voice. Want to go out with me? Sai Kasumi then gave a sweet smile that all the boys shuddered at, Naruto and Sasuke included. Do you want to die, Kiba? And no, Kiba said as he backed off. He then glared at Naruto, who was simply staring off into the front, but sneaked a glance at him and gave a smile. A smile that made Kiba and the fanboys even more angry. Naruto! Kiba roared. Why did you come here with Kasumi-chan? Did you follow her? The fanboys also rose in support. Kasumi was going to say something, but Naruto decided to speak up first. He wanted to make sure nobody bothered him about this again. I didn't, Kiba. Naruto paused. He was going to drop a bomb on them. You see, Kasumi lives with me now. So we go and do everything together. He said the last part intentionally as Kasumi blushed and pulled Naruto's ear for saying something like that. But Naruto got what he wanted. All her fanboys and his fangirls shattered at his words. They lived together and did everything together. So many anime tears were falling to the ground as this statement reverberated throughout their minds. The fact that Kasumi was pulling his ear and arm certainly put more nails into the coffin. Kiba looked a bit comically distraught, but still had hope that she would one day go out with him. He then looked at her and blushed. She was so pretty. But even he had to admit that Naruto, despite being an uchiha, was never arrogant and rude, unlike Sasuke. Sasuke himself was looking at the situation and was annoyed. For the life of him, he did not know why. Maybe because Naruto grew up in a different way. He was always glared at in the clan. His family had brought them shame. But his mother and brother were exceptionally close to him. Now he has Kasumi. A girl who no doubt had potential to be a good kunoichi if their training aftermath was any indication. The truth was that Sasuke wanted someone like Kasumi. Someone strong and kind at the same time. He had the Uchiha clan to restore and would have to do that to actually do it. Iruka came in and started his lectures once more. For some reason, he had also cried. Some students cringed at the manly tears which leaked out from his eyes. Okay then, Team 7, Iruka said and paused for some time. He read it again and spoke once more. This is odd. Team 7. Sasuke Uchiha, the fangirls crossed their fingers and brought out their prayer beads to be on the same team as him. Sakura Haruno. Cha! Sakura yelled as many eardrums ruptured. Take that. True love prevails over all. Sasuke sinked into the ground. Kasumi smirked at his despair. Naruto sighed. Kasumi Uzumaki. Many of the fanboys were disappointed. Sakura felt jealous while thinking that a beautiful girl like Kasumi might steal her precious Sasuke-kun. Kasumi herself latched onto Naruto and was comically crying on his shoulders while he patted her on the head and sighed once more. The fanboys and Kiba were even more distraught when they saw her latch onto Naruto. And Naruto Uchiha. Naruto sighed but redacted the feeling as Kasumi full-on hugged him in front of everyone. Now even Sasuke felt jealous at this. But in the back of his mind, for Kami knows what reasons, was starting to think what the situation would look like if he was there instead of Naruto. The fanboys were utterly broken at this sight while the fangirls were holding their shattered hearts. Ino started to wonder if maybe she has a better chance with her other crush Sasuke. And rest of the teams are as canon goes. All of the genin had left with their respective senseis. Naruto was particularly glad to see two people he recognized. Asuma Sarutobi and Kurenai Yuhi, former classmates and comrades with his eldest brother Obito. Kasumi was still glaring at Naruto because Kurenai had kissed him on the cheek saying he grew up to be such a handsome young man. This resulted in Kasumi pointing a finger at Kurenai and stuttering out useless nothing. She chuckled at her reactions and saw the nervous face Naruto had on his face after that incident. Even Asuma found this entertaining. Naruto walked up to Sasuke's bench and sat on the opposite seat. Sasuke-san? Naruto said. What do you want, Naruto? Sasuke's tone was neutral. Firstly, I am sorry for my rash behavior yesterday. I should not have threatened your life. Naruto said. Since we are going to be on the same team, I think we should all try to get along. Sasuke replied. I don't need a team with those two. You alone are worthy of being my teammate. They are not near my level. Sigh, that may be true of Sasuke-san. But a tree can only grow well if its roots are strong. Naruto replied. For the sake of our careers as shinobi, let's get along with each other. If not, at least tolerate each other. Naruto smiled as he said this. You're too soft, you know that? Sasuke asked. Then he asked another thing. One that was completely inappropriate and personal. Naruto, what is Kasumi to you? Why is she living with you? Sasuke-san? Naruto said before looking at Kasumi, who was reading some notes on level 2 Fuinjutsu. He smiled at seeing her, and Sasuke caught the peaceful look on his face. She's precious to me. She is my first friend. She is the first person who didn't look at me like I'm an uchiha. As for why I live with her, well, she used to live alone, and honestly I love her company. Excuse me? Naruto got up and made his way towards her and sat down with her. Sasuke looked down at the ground and thought about what he said. He looked at them again and felt some sort of gut-pulling sensation. He wasn't sure what it was, but he didn't like it. 3 hours later. I'm back, Naruto said as he brought back some food. He bought ramen for himself and Kasumi, some dango for Sakura, and udon for Sasuke, who was glad to see his favorite food. Their sensei had not arrived, and Naruto had pretty much figured out who their sensei was. He had heard stories about how his eldest brother Obito was always late and got pulled into situations that dragged him into being late. His only living comrade had decided to honor his memory by being late. Shursui had told him that the teammate had picked up many habits. Naruto then sat down and was having ramen with Kasumi. As the team finished their meal, 5 more minutes passed before the door slid open and a man with gravity-defying silver hair stepped into the room. He was wearing the standard outfit, and the 8 on his forehead was pulled down to hide his left eye. He was also wearing a face mask that hid the lower half of his face. A great mystery lies beneath that mask. Naruto knew this person all too well, but even he did not know what his real face looked like. You're late, Sakura screeched, much to the dismay of her teammates, as the man's lone eye curled up into a U-shaped smile. Sorry about that, I was lost on the road of life. Everyone's sweat dropped at his excuse, except one. Yeah. That road has too many twists and turns. You can get lost easily, Naruto replied with a smile. I'm glad I got a student who understands that experience. Team 7 met me on the rooftop in 10 minutes. The man disappeared in a puff of smoke. Sasuke got up first with Sakura following him. Kasumi was going to leave, but Naruto caught her wrist, and she looked back at Naruto. He had a smile on his face, and she was curious. Then he kissed Kasumi's cheek as she was flustered and waving her arms in the air. Naruto then poked her other cheek to make her stop. Thanks for taking me to my room last night, Naruto said as he went past the door. And the kiss too. This came in rather loud as he was nowhere to be seen. Kasumi raced towards the stairs to go to the roof. She would give him quite a verbal and literal thrashing for that. But she was also smiling. She liked it when Naruto's lips made contact with her skin. I wonder what his lips taste like. Konoha Academy rooftop, Kanahigakur no Sato. The silver-haired man was sitting down. His emotions are unreadable, and he is not giving off any vibes other than the fact that he is generally lazy. As he is sitting down near the railing, he is holding a book in his hands. The cover of the book is orange, and as far as the literary eye in this chapter can see, there seem to be love hearts on it. His lone eye is solely fixed on the book as he flips another page, reading the contents of the books as if it is a scroll that holds the keys to world domination itself. Oh, Akino-chan, you naughty girl, the man with the mask which covers the lower half of his face giggles perversely as he gets himself even more immersed into the orange-bounded book that holds the words of a true pervert. If one were to read this book, they would have a perfect visual imagery of the pure smut that had been changed to words. However, that's not all the shinobi were thinking about. He is wondering when the recent team he has been assigned will come here. As if Kami heard his prayers, 2 of them had arrived. The raven duck-but-haired boy had arrived with the girl who had pink hair. Soon enough 2 more people arrived. Another boy with spiky raven hair had arrived with a smile on his face, while the sun-kissed blonde-haired girl seemed to be flustered. The man noticed the other 2 genins' expressions as well. The duck-but-haired boy was annoyed, and the pink-haired girl seemed to be stealing glances at said boy. Closing his smut, he looked to them with an eye smile, as his lone eye curled up into a U shape. How did it happen? I am sorry, no one truly knows, but know that it did. Well, it seems all of you are here then, the man said. I think all of you should introduce yourselves so I get to know a little bit about you. The 4 genin looked at him. 3 of them were still bewildered at the fact that this guy had the gall to not only show up late but also make up such a horrible excuse like that. Now he asked them to introduce themselves. He did not mention how they should describe them. The spiky raven-haired boy was inwardly smiling at seeing a familiar face after so long. He was glad that the teacher he got was someone he knew. Someone he could trust, and considering that left eye of his, He was contemplating as to whether he'll have to use his gift as well. Ano-sensei. The pink-haired girl spoke up. Could you show us how to do it first? That way we'll know how and what we should say. The man looked down and raised his vision to place them in his. Okay, how about something like this then? My name is Hitaki Kakashi. Things I like and things I hate. I don't feel like telling you that. As for my hobbies, I have lots of hobbies. The genin before him simply sweat dropped at his introduction. All they learned was his name. Naruto too sweat dropped, though not as much as his contemporaries. He had gotten his hands on a bingo book as he had killed one of the hunter nins. The man before them was an A-ranked shinobi and is known to have over 1,000 at his disposal. Kakashi the copy ninja or Kakashi of the Sharingan. The Sharingan resided in Kakashi's left eye. He had lost his original eye and was given the wielding eye by his comrade Obito Uchiha so that he could carry on his legacy. Naruto felt a bit sad remembering Obito. Though he had never met his eldest brother, he had seen him in the Tsukuyami. His mother had often used to show him their complete family including his father Genjuro. He then saw Kakashi speaking up again. So that's the gist of it. How about you go first, Pinky? Said Pinky, got annoyed by the comment that was directed at her. Still she shrugged it off and compiled. My name is Sakura Haruno, she said. She then had a very prominent blush on her face as her forehead stretched a bit, and her face beamed up at her next words. What I like is, looks at Sasuke, or more like the person I like is, looks at Sasuke, and my dream for the future is, looks at Sasuke and squeals. She then closed her eyes as she squealed a bit more. Naruto's sweat dropped. Per Sasuke-san. Of all the people, he teamed up with the president of his fan club. I hope she gets serious in her life. Kasumi looked at her with a deadpan expression. Okay, even I feel bad for the team. And no, I don't. Suffered Abayo. Kasumi then had a smirk on her face. Sasuke looked as if someone had reached deep inside, grabbed his intestine and wrapped it around his esophagus. Why, Kami, why? We had a deal. I get stronger and I avenge the Uchiha clan. Why did you get this stupid fangirl on my team? Kakashi looked at this proclamation with a mental sigh. Something was wrong with Kunoichi these days. Or maybe it was just in Konoha. Still he braced himself to speak. Okay, what do you dislike? At Kakashi's words, Sakura perked up a bit. Ino pig and Kasumi baka, she screeched. Naruto had already put earplugs on, somehow it was useless against the sheer force of her. Kasumi too held her ears. Sasuke for his part played it cool, but he too was reeling from the effects of the screech release. Kakashi was mostly unaffected on his end. Okay, Broody, you next, Kakashi said as he looked at Sasuke. Sasuke began his introduction with the universal Uchiha grunt. My name is Sasuke Uchiha. I don't particularly like anything and I hate a lot of things. What I have is not a dream, I will make it a reality. I will restore the Uchiha clan. Sasuke's eyes had unknowingly glanced at Kasumi and made it back to the center, and I will destroy a certain someone along the way. Sasuke-kun is so hot, Sakura thought with stars in her eyes. He must be talking about Itachi. Wonder why Naru is never obsessed with revenge like him. A question that Kasumi now pondered. This would be her topic of the day. Kakashi and Naruto too had caught the words he said along with the sudden change in his vision when he had looked at Kasumi for a fraction of a second. So he is obsessed with revenge. That's gonna be a problem, Kakashi said as his lone eye turned serious to see a change in emotions in Naruto. Sasuke-dan? Naruto had an annoyed expression on his face. I hope for your sake you don't overstep your boundaries. Kakashi then decided to defuse the situation, clearly recognizing that Naruto was seeming to be a bit hostile right now. The last thing this team needed was an inside turmoil before it even began. Okay, Orange Menace, why don't you go next? Kakashi asked. Even the and the ANBU were afraid of the level of pranks that Kasumi could pull off. How did all the Hyuga have glitters on their kimono is still a question that has to be answered. My name is Kasumi Uzumaki Tabeyo, the blonde-haired girl chirped. I like ramen, training and spending time with Naru. Said person was a bit embarrassed at how Kasumi had just said that sentence, and that too with the nickname she had given him. No doubt Sakura would tell Ino and then the shitstorm would start. I dislike the 3 minutes it takes to make instant ramen. I hate arrogant people who think themselves above others. As she gave Sasuke a glare and people who jump to conclusions about stuff they don't understand about. My hobbies are tasting every sort of ramen that Tsuchijiji makes. And my dream is to become the Hokage. So that everyone in the village respects me for who I am, she said as she pumped a fist into the air. Kakashi, I smile. He was a bit relieved. Well, at least one of them is normal. Well, sort of, though a bit too energetic, I suppose. Sasuke scoffed at her proclamation. Sakura was a bit neutral to her statement, but dissed it off as nothing but a fancy dream. Naruto was slightly smiling at Kasumi's dream. It was amazing how cheerful she remained. Okay, Blue Eyes, it's your turn now, Kakashi said, and Naruto was still looking at Kasumi with a smile. He spoke up once more. Ahem, Kakashi said lazily. Oh, Gomen. Did you say something? The birds had stopped chirping. The air was blowing across the rooftop, and Kakashi's form was breaking. Inside his heart he was crying with great waterfalls. He used my own thing against me. Somewhere in the hidden leaf, a certain green spandex-wearing man was proclaiming something about youth and felt happy. A mini-clone resembling him decided to join him. Sorry about that. Naruto sheepishly chuckled while scratching the back of his head. My name is Naruto Uchiha. Things I like. Well, I like training, studying, and spending time with Sumi. Kasumi grinned at his mention of her. As for dislikes, well, I dislike power-hungry mongrels, perverts, and people who have proverbial sticks up their asses. The entire group of people were silent. Kakashi was surprised that he had said it out loud. He knew that Naruto had previously mentioned that term before. Sakura was berating and saying he shouldn't speak like that. Sasuke scowled and for some reason felt that the last one was directed to him. Kasumi was confused that he would mention that here. Then again, Naruto was an enigma that everyone has not figured out yet. As for my hobbies, well, I like to train and learn new so I can protect the village better, I suppose. And my dream, well, it's my brother's dream, really. I hope to complete it for him and become the first Uchiha to become Hokage. And if not, to make sure that I can help make Kasumi the Hokage. He finished it with a smile. Kasumi had perked up once more. Sakura was neutral. That's not true, she was measuring up to Sasuke. Sasuke himself was a bit taken aback by Naruto's stated dream. An Uchiha who wants to become Hokage? Absurd. He then got into thoughts of his own. His goals in life are the only thing that mattered to him more than anything else. Kakashi merely looked at Naruto and was relieved. He was ashamed of himself to some extent that he could not be there for the little brother of his former comrade. However, it seems that just like his family, Naruto too had remained the same and did not let his clan symbol get to his head or influence his heart. He was like both Obito and Shursui. Well, Obito, it looks like there is someone who will carry on your dream. He then smiled. You're an interesting bunch, to say the least. Well, I won't waste any more time and tell you about your exams tomorrow. What? Both Sakura and Kasumi screeched/yelled at the same time. Sasuke narrowed his eyes as a frown appeared and Naruto was blankly staring at Kakashi. What no one noticed was that his eyes changed to crimson then back to his bright blue orbs. He was thinking about what sort of test it was going to be. But we just graduated from the genin exams, Kasumi said with a tone of both whine and anger. She had just worked her ass off to graduate 2 months ago, now there was another. Yeah. Why do we need to give another exam now? Sakura asked this time as her forehead pushed past their limits. Oh, you mean the academy exam? Kakashi then lazily waved his hand. That was nothing more than a screen. We weeded out those who had the potential to become genin with that. Out of the 9 teams that have been formed, only 3 teams will remain. Which means you only have a 33% chance of passing. That's not fair, Kasumi whined. She was really looking forward to doing ninja stuff and becoming Hokage as quickly as possible. Well, life isn't fair for shinobi. Anyways, you all have survival training tomorrow. If you fail, you'll be sent back to the academy. Meet me at training ground 7 tomorrow at 6 in the morning. Kakashi's face then changed into one of grave importance. Also, I suggest you don't eat breakfast. Otherwise you'll puke. Ja-ni. Kakashi then disappeared in a shunshin. I can't believe this, Sakura screeched. After all that work in the academy, what was the point of all that? It's like Kakashi-sensei said, Naruto spoke up. It was merely to find out who was truly ready to become genin. Sumi, do you want to go for some ramen? Hi. Kasumi had evidently forgotten all about the survival exam looming tomorrow. If ramen was there, nothing could stop her. Not even the sage of the 6 paths. Do you guys want to come with us? Naruto asked Sasuke and Sakura. Since they were on the same team, he needed to show some courtesy. Sasuke grunted. I have better things to do than eat that starch abomination. Kasumi was going to say something but Naruto cut her off. I see. I'll see you later then, Sasuke-san. What about you, Sakura-san? Naruto asked with his blank expression. Kasumi had a pout on her face. Why was he asking her to join them? No, it's alright, I have something else to do, Sakura said, refusing the offer. Looks like Sasuke is going to be annoyed again. Both Naruto and Kasumi collectively thought. The duo then made their way away from the team. They were walking side by side. They wouldn't say it, but the silence was engulfing them. So Kasumi decided to speak up first. So Nero, she said with a pause, will we train today? Not as much as we usually do. We're going to be needing our full strength for the exam tomorrow, Naruto said while pondering if he should bring his new weapons with him tomorrow. He still needed more time before he could execute it. The pace at which he was going was good. Although his with Omaru, Gunbai, and Shikyo, Kusarigama, was better than his with the Hitokiri. They didn't even notice when they had arrived at Ichiraku's. Both entered at the same time, and much to his dismay, Tochi wasn't around. It was only Ayam, and both knew that she would be teasing them today. Well, if it isn't my favorite couple, Ayam said with an all-knowing smile. Both teens immediately blushed at her words. Ayam Ne-chan. I told you to stop doing that, Kasumi said while she took step 1 into tomato mode. You said it, but Naruto didn't, Ayam said in a sing-song voice. Nei-san, Naruto had a deadpan expression on his face. You make it sound like you'd stop if I told you to. Yeah, I wouldn't stop, Ayam said as he looked at them both. So are you two on the same team? Yup, Kasumi exclaimed while Naruto nodded. Phew. Ayam rubbed off sweats from her forehead. Here I thought you two lovers would be separated. Nei-chan, Kasumi said as the redness of the blush increased and step 2 was taken. Could we have our regulars now, please? Naruto said as a small blush also stained his cheeks. Hi. Give me a few minutes. Kids these days are no fun, she mumbled as she went back into the kitchen. Both teens were awkwardly sitting and waiting for their food to come. Naruto was thinking whether he should tell Kasumi how he feels differently towards her. He backed off from those thoughts. It was too soon, as he kept telling himself. Little did he know that Kasumi was having the same train of thought. Then they were derailed as Ayam came back with their orders and they ate it heartily. After eating, some little talks and more of Ayam's teasing, the Uchiha and the Uzumaki left the ramen stand and made their way back to the compound. Hours later, Uchiha clan training ground. Futon de Tapa. A great gust of wind emerged from Kasumi's mouth as she stopped the wind. How was that? It was better. Looks like you'll be able to use it tomorrow. Naruto then put a hand on his chin. Though I don't think we should bring our katana tomorrow, we need more time with it. You're only saying that because you're not as good as me, Kasumi said with a cheeky grin. Says the girl who still can't perfectly hit all her targets with shuriken, Naruto countered. Oh yeah? Well then how about the fact that I pass out like a girl when I hit only once? Kasumi said, getting closer to him. Naruto too got closer to her, and said, how's that normal bunshin coming along? Their foreheads touched, and once more their eyes found each other. An intense contact of eyes was being exchanged. Neither could move. Then fate decided to give them a wedge as the wind picked up and dusted them in their eyes. Both of them were clutching their eyes to rub off the dust. Sumi, Naruto said, there's something I want to tell you. Kasumi's heartbeat increased. Wait. Was this it? Was Naruto going to say what she thought he was going to say? Did he too think of her more than a friend? 50 million questions were bombarding around her head as she was trying to keep her face as normal as possible, but ever-increasing redness that adorned her cheeks was having the exact opposite effect. What is it? Kasumi said, lowering her vision. Once again the ground below had become so much more interesting again. It's about tomorrow's exam, Naruto said in the most bland voice he had. The moment was absolutely ruined. Kasumi groaned at the words that left his mouth. Once again reality had trumped reality. However, she also felt a bit relieved for some reason. Why? Because she herself was not sure of what she had to do once that ship sailed. And get it, ship? What about it? Kasumi asked while her face looked disappointed. Kakashi-sensei suggested that we do not have breakfast. He didn't say we had to, Naruto said, and the idea metaphorically dawned on Kasumi. Oh? That's right, Tabeo, Kasumi exclaimed. First he's late, then he misleads us. Why I oughta. Speaking of lateness, Naruto spoke once more. He told us to come at 6. I think we should go at 8. What if she shows up early? And then he thinks about making us fail cause we weren't on time? Kasumi said as she was comically tearing up. Don't worry about that, Naruto said while smiling at her expression. If what I'm guessing is right, then he should be around 3 hours late just like today. Okay. Kasumi then fidgeted with the end of her sleeves and looked at Naruto, who was simply looking up at the sky with a far-off look. For a fraction of a moment she caught that painful look in his eyes. Over time, she had realized that even though it had been many years since the massacre, Naruto was still affected by it. Naruto sighed and was conjuring his own thoughts. Whatever happens tomorrow, I just hope we make it through. I'm not fighting for myself anymore. I have someone now. Naruto then smiled at the thoughts that had entered his mind. If someone had told him, all those years ago right after the massacre, that he would be living and completely enamored by a girl, he would have laughed his ass off at such words. But now, it was really hard for him to imagine his life without her. He looked down at the ground, mentally nothing to himself that somewhere in heaven, his mother and Miko Oba-chan must be having the time of their lives seeing his current predicament. Ikesumi, he said while looking at her. She had immediately moved her vision once he looked at her. She was fidgeting the ends of her sleeves. Something was up. Is everything all right, Sumi? Hi, she replied quickly. Let's go home. She ran off towards the house all on her own. He merely bobbed his head at her antics. She was a mystery that he could never fully understand. Training Ground 7, Kanahigakur no Sado. Naruto and Kasumi were walking side by side. They were wearing their usual gear and were in close proximity with each other. Both were armed to the teeth. Kunai, shuriken, tanto, ninja wires, explosive tags, and for some reason a frying pan as well. Naruto had sealed Homaru and Shikio onto his wrists. It was just a precaution, one he hoped he would not have to take. However, this was Kakashi Hatake they were dealing with, and knew that it would not be easy under any circumstance. They soon arrived at their designated location, and Naruto was glad he had his earplugs on. However, earplugs are useless against Sakura Haruno's screech release. Kasumi Baka. You're late. Naruto pulled out the earplugs, noticing that it was completely useless. He'd let Kasumi handle this round with Sakura. Honestly, the girl had amazing chakra control because of her small pools, and probably had the best potential among all the civilians who decided to become shinobi. But for the life of him, he could not figure out why she was a fangirl. So much potential being absolutely wasted over a boy who does not even give her a time of the day. Speaking of the boy, Naruto saw Sasuke glooming and dooming in the corner of the tree, so that the shade of the branches enhanced the emo-ness he represented. He went up to him and greeted his fellow clansman. Sasuke-san? Naruto said with a light smile. Naruto's Sasuke greeted her. Sasuke Uchiha was a strange one. He would only respect you if you had power. Naruto had shown that he did have it when he unleashed his killing intent upon him. However, that did not mean he liked Naruto. Why are you late? He said with a frown. I assumed that Kakashi-sensei would be late, so. Naruto shrugged his arms. He was a lot more cheerful these days. Sasuke gave the best reply he knew. After a few seconds of awkward silence, Naruto decided to go sit down and study a bit about. Level 6 was by no means easy, and if it was a hill before, the rest of the path to level 10 was a mountain to be scaled. Naruto and Kasumi had arrived exactly 2 hours late, so after another hour of waiting their teacher had arrived. He lazily waved his hands at the 4 genin. You're late, Sakura once more screeched. The rest of the genin couldn't help but think as to why she has to be so damn loud all the time. Sorry, there was an old lady who needed help with her heavy bags and I had to carry it for her all the way to her home. Kakashi was expecting another round of face faulting and sweat drops. Much to his dismay, all 3 genin shot their looks towards Naruto, who simply looked back at them. See, I'm not the only one this stuff happens to, Naruto replied in a matter-of-fact fashion. He still remembers how he had to help generic old woman number 1 all those years ago, when he started his first day at the academy. So there is a kindred spirit out there. Tell me, has a black cat ever crossed your path, and you had to take the long way around? Kakashi asked while giving an eye smile. Naruto was quiet and trying to remember. Yup, Naruto honestly replied while nodding his head to add emphasis to his testament. Had to walk all the way around from the Naka shrine when I was 5. I hope I never meet that cat again. Everyone around them sweat dropped. What's going on? Their similarities in making excuses was almost symmetrical. Kakashi, satisfied with his answers, brought out 3 bells. Naruto immediately sighed at the sight of those bells. The genin exam for teams that were exceptional. However, Naruto was confused right now. From what he heard and learned, the test including bells was about teamwork. It always had 2 bells, and now there were 3. Add the fact that there had never been a 4-man genin team in Konoha's history before, and the end result is a very confused Naruto Uchiha who was not sure how this exam would go. Kakashi then brought out an alarm clock and placed it on one of the wooden poles. He set the alarm. Okay, you all have till noon to get these bells for me. He showed the 4 teens the bells before tying them to the lower end of his flak jacket. But Sensei, Sakura said, there are 4 of us and only 3 bells. What happens if we don't get a bell? Very astute of you, Sakura. Kakashi said the person who does not get a bell will be weeded out and sent to the academy. After all, there never has been a 4-man team in Konoha's shinobi history. All the genin had nervous and curious looks on their faces. Kakashi, seeing that his words had the effect he desired, continued. One more thing. Come at me with the intent to kill. Only then will you have a chance to defeat me, he said as he was preparing to give them a final instruction. Okay, get ready. Now disperse. All 4 teens disappeared from their spots and hid themselves across the forest. Kyuso. Naruto muttered as he looked for the rest of the genin team. He was honestly confused at Kakashi's words. The bell test had always been about teamwork, and Naruto would have gone with that endgame too, had Kakashi not mentioned one very irrefutable fact. There has never been a 4-man squad in Konoha's history. It was always 3 genin and 1. Even the ANBU Black Ops had followed this procedure. Naruto was trying to wrap his head around the complicated situation he was placed into. Will one of them truly go back to the academy? Deciding to gamble with fate, Naruto looked for the team. He would go with his original theory. He found Sakura and decided to speak with her. After explaining the situation, she let her stubbornness outweigh her rationality. Naruto was pretty sure he heard her muttering something about Sasuke-kun and something about true love. He was not sure. Now he was looking for Sasuke, who he found, calmly observing Kakashi, who was standing reading his smut in the middle of the clearing. Sasuke-san? Naruto spoke quietly. We need to talk. About what? Sasuke said with an annoyed voice as his vision was focused on Kakashi Hatake. I think this tested about teamwork. Naruto said if we're going to pull this off, then all of us need to work. Sasuke looked towards Naruto with a glare. You might need help. I was born in the main Uchiha clan. I am an elite. I don't need anyone's help. Nor will I ever need it. Naruto sighed. There was no point in continuing this conversation, and Naruto merely left and started to look for Kasumi. Hopefully she was nearby and well hidden. All right, Kakashi-sensei, Kasumi exclaimed as she stood in front of Kakashi. She then rushed towards him with the modified taijutsu style that Naruto had taught her. It was a bastardized version of many taijutsu styles if Naruto was honest. He had firstly noted the large chakra reserves that Kasumi had. Combining that with her absurd amount of shadow clones she could summon, he devised a taijutsu style that depended on heavy blows and clone cooperation. It would be a combined effort. He called this style the Legion Taijutsu, as a nod of respect to the shadow clones being used. Of course, that did not mean that he didn't teach her a singular taijutsu style. Naruto knew that she could not learn the Uchiha Interceptor Fist, as it is a quick-paced game of patience. It can only be fully mastered if you have a completely matured Sharingan, and those who become true masters of that don't even need the Sharingan unless desperate times arrive. He noticed that Kasumi had launched several shuriken at Kakashi, who had merely caught them. Kasumi then got in close range and engaged him in taijutsu. She had engaged him with the style Kasumi called Juzuken after her name. To anyone it would seem brutish and nothing more than a brawler's way of dragging out a fight. In reality it was different. It was supposed to look like a flailed style, and the blows that came with it were rather heavy and always seemed to aim for critical points. It seemed that Kakashi too had picked up on it, and was paying more attention. However, 2 months of training can only get you so far. But still, considering what Kasumi was during the academy, she had greatly increased her potential. The memory relay system of Kage Bunshin was truly a wonder to behold. Kasumi then started using the Legion style, and this was when Kakashi had to put away his book and engage her in taijutsu to a lesser extent. She was summoning clone after clone, one-sided as a distraction, while 2 more would try to hit at the same time with the original. It was annoyingly distracting, and Kasumi would have gotten a hit but was thrown into the river. seconds after she emerged with a battalion of shadow clones. Naruto was simply observing how she would handle the situation. Kasumi then started throwing several kunai and performed hand seals. 6 kunai turned into 20, all lunging for Kakashi, who was planning to kawarimi at the last second. However, Kasumi instead used Futon Datopa to increase the speed of the kunai. Kakashi dodged them all via a last-second kawarimi. He then appeared via Shunshin and took care of all of Kasumi's clones. They engaged in taijutsu but noticed that Kasumi was smirking. There was an explosive tag on her chest. Shit! Kakashi jumped away at the last second and saw that Kasumi had emerged from the water. He had been fighting clones ever since she was thrown into the water. She went through hand seals and finished her. Suetun, Mizurapa. Kasumi expelled a jet of water at Kakashi, who raised a mud wall to deflect the water that was rushing towards him. He was smiling inwards. He had heard how Kasumi was staying with Naruto, and he was quite skeptical of the situation. Now, however, she was showing how much she had improved from her academy reports. But it seems that Kasumi was not done, as she started to do more hand seals. She had seen Naruto pull off this before and carefully copied all the hand seals. Since she had a strong water affinity, she would be able to do it. Suetun, Tai Hudan. A stream of water emerged from Kasumi's mouth and shot towards the user's target. Kakashi, to his credit, had done the right thing and sunshine away. He then appeared once more, and this time he had put Kasumi down on the ground, who had managed to touch one of the bells during the scuffle. In all honesty, he was impressed at what Kasumi had done. This girl was definitely ready to be a genin. However, the true purpose of his test was not being met at the moment. As he held her down, a barrage of shuriken and kunai was launched towards the duo. Both shinobi had kawarimi'd to avoid the incoming weapons. It was done by Sasuke Uchiha, who was now moving on to a different location since his current one was compromised. Naruto was annoyed at Sasuke now. What if he had hit Kasumi? Sure, even Naruto knew that she'd be able to make an escape, but hey, he cared about her more than anyone else at the moment. He'd be giving Sasuke a talk after all this. Looking for the signature, he found her as she for some reason was hanging upside down from the branch of a tree, her foot yanked by a ninja wire. Sumi, Naruto asked, how did this happen? Well, Kasumi blushed in embarrassment and scratched the back of her head. There was a bell lying around and I decided to reach for it. Kakashi-sensei later came and took away the bell in the heat of it all to bail. Naruto sighed and threw a kunai to cut the wire. She could have landed normally on the ground. After all, she had learned to walk on water to some extent and was getting that down. But Naruto decided to catch her as he jumped and grabbed her, placing her in a bridal position. She blushed and was trying to look away. Naruto for some reason failed to see the importance of the hold as he was distracted by the dying wailing of a banshee. Sakura. Both teens muttered at the same time. Naruto looked towards Kasumi and had an idea in mind. Let's go, Kasumi, Naruto said, and both took off towards the direction the scream came from. They found Sakura unconscious on the ground. She was hit with a, which was funny because she should be the last person here that would be affected by a. Kasumi, Naruto said, you know how to release a, right? Kasumi nodded. Okay, then here's the plan. Kakashi had just buried Sasuke into the ground. Literally. Though he was not dead, far from it, Sasuke was pissed. He had engaged Kakashi in single combat, and he too had managed to graze one of the bells. He had even used Katan, Gakkaku no Jutsu, which surprised Kakashi because the genin of this generation were rather weaker compared to the times they had grown up in. But still, Kakashi had later used the headhunter jutsu as Sasuke's entire body from below the neck was underground. Kakashi was getting honestly bored. He kept walking until he saw that Naruto was calmly sitting down in a clearing waiting for him. He even had his eyes closed. Naruto's form was completely relaxed. Well, this is interesting, Kakashi said as he neared Naruto. I was waiting for you, sensei, Naruto replied, opening his eyes. Since everybody else got a shot in, I figured, what the hell. Naruto got up and took the Uchiha Interceptor fist stance. Then, to Kakashi's surprise, Naruto arrived at low chunin speeds and engaged Kakashi in taijutsu. Some of his blows actually reached Kakashi as his shoulders, forearms, and knees got hit by Naruto. Kakashi was now sure that Naruto was the strongest genin in the village right now. It seems that Naruto was hiding his ability. He was far beyond Sasuke's level. The way he fought and kept dodging would make anyone believe that the boy is an experienced chunin. Naruto unsheathed a kunai and held it in reverse grip. He engaged Kakashi using a kunai. Then he noticed that his kunai was slowly getting chipped as the nicks became more and more prominent. A small layer of blue chakra surrounded Naruto's kunai. Wind-laced chakra. Kakashi thought as he figured out that Naruto was adding his wind affinity to the chakra-inducing kunai. After a few more scuffles, Naruto was grabbed by the wrist and his left arm was twisted all the way to his back. Boom! Naruto exploded. Kakashi had gotten away, but his body had some smoke lining him up. The kid knows Bunshin Daibaka. What else does he know? Katan, how Senka no Jutsu? Naruto answered Kakashi's questions in a sort of way as bright orange fireballs emerged from Naruto's mouth and were seeking to burn Kakashi. No longer feeling the need to hold back, did his own hand seals and performed Suiton, Mizu Oni Kik. The water from the lake nearby emerged to form a head with large fangs as it swallowed the fireballs that aimed for him. However, shuriken emerged from the resulting steam. It seemed that Naruto had hidden them in the fireballs as they reached Kakashi. He deflected them all with the kunai. Then the alarm bell rang. Well, looks like it's noon now and I guess we'll chime. Kakashi looked at Naruto's hand as he held the bell. He noticed that the third bell at his waist was disappearing. Genjutsu. When? Yesterday, Naruto said with an uchiha smirk at the rooftop. Can't believe it actually worked. Kakashi simply looked at Naruto curiously. Kakashi had not noticed a time dependent was placed on him. He felt a bit annoyed. A genin had placed one on him. Then again, he did notice that Naruto's eyes turned crimson for a moment. He thought it was his imagination, but now that the was recognized, he knew for a fact that Naruto had the Sharingan and was very good at it. He must have used it again during the steam rose and released the. Very clever. Congratulations, you get a bell and your teammates will go back to the academy. Naruto flinched a bit at the tone of Kakashi. It sounded both annoyed and angry. I'm disappointed in all of you. None of you except Naruto managed to get the bells, Kakashi said. Sasuke was gritting through his teeth as he glared at Naruto for outshining him. This time Naruto stared back with emotionless, ice blue eyes. It was the perfect counter to the glare being directed at him. It seems all of you managed to fail to see the true purpose of this exam, Kakashi said. Weren't we supposed to get the bells? Sakura asked as she was tied to a pole. Yes. But did you think that you could get a bell from me? Eh? The only reason that Naruto got a bell from me in the first place was because of sheer luck, Kakashi said, and Naruto's eyebrow twitched at the complete lack of respect to his abilities. Then what was the point of his stupid exam? Sasuke asked, now visibly annoyed, his metaphorical fuse ready to blow. Teamwork. Naruto was the one who gave the answer. This test was all about teamwork. That's why I approached both you and Sakura. You refused. It was later that I distracted Kakashi-sensei so that Kasumi could free you guys and we worked together to get the bells from him. You did the exact opposite as you berated her for bringing such an idea. He said all of this without any tone of emotion. Even Kasumi flinched at his tone. I couldn't have said it better myself. But the fact remains that one of you will go back to the academy. Kakashi then handed Sasuke and Kasumi each a bento box. You tried to get the bells, so eat up and we'll continue the session afterwards. None of you are to give your lunch to Sakura. If you do, I will fail you all. There has always been a 3-man squad throughout Konoha's history. Do well to remember that. Kakashi disappeared in a puff of smoke. Sakura looked down in shame as she practically did nothing. Her thoughts were soon broken as she felt the ropes tying her loose and then drop. Kasumi had cut them off with her kunai and handed Sakura her bento box. Here, Kasumi said with a whine. I ate some of it, you can have the rest. I did have breakfast. But why are you giving it to me? Sakura asked. Kakashi-sensei said not to. It's because you'll slow us down, Sasuke said this time. Sakura took the bento box and looked at Kasumi, who was looking rather neutral to it all. Arigato. Sakura genuinely said it. It's alright, Kasumi said. I'll keep watch. Kasumi suddenly ran forward and Naruto realized what was going on. Sumi, wait. Suddenly an intense killing intent filled the training ground. Even Naruto was sweating. It was really heavy. Kakashi appeared and Kasumi was lying on the ground. Left arm held in Kakashi's vice grip as he had a kunai very near to her throat. Her right hand was stretched forward as if she was calling for help. Naruto tried to go straight, but Kakashi's words acted like a wall. Not a step forward, Naruto, Kakashi said as the murderous look in his eye increased. Now I told you all to not give Sakura lunch. You disobeyed my orders, Kasumi. Naruto! Kakashi barked as his grip on her increased, and she let out a painful muffle. Naruto was thinking how to get her out, regardless of the consequences. Kill Sasuke and Sakura. Or Kasumi dies. Nani? Naruto said as his own Sharingan activated. All three Tomo were there. All three of them had noticed this, and the secret was out. You want me to kill my clansman and my comrade? Are you fucking insane? Both Sakura and Sasuke were taken aback by his words. He had never really spoken to them unless it was absolutely necessary. Did he truly feel a strong sense of comradeship towards them? Both felt a little guilty at his sudden outburst. Yes, Kakashi said as he neared the kunai towards Kasumi's throat. Only three will make it as a team. One of them has to go. A drowning silence flooded the training ground as Naruto was thinking about his options. Manjikyu Sharingan? Maybe, but would he be able to beat Kakashi? Experience often outweighs many things. How could he save Kasumi and the others? How? Then the answer clicked in his mind. His Sharingan deactivated. He brought a kunai to his hand. Sasuke was a bit afraid now. Naruto had the Sharingan, and right now Sasuke knew he was no match for him. Sakura was afraid of how his eyes had changed, and now he drew a kunai. Kasumi was tearing up. Was he going to kill them for her? Sure, they weren't always nice to her, but to kill them seemed so. Only three will remain. One of them has to go. Naruto closed his eyes and opened them. He looked at Kasumi, and his eyes immediately were filled with regret and pain. I'm sorry, Sumi. There were so many things I wanted to do. So many things I wanted to tell you. But it looks like Kami has other plans. He looked at his comrades now. Don't worry. None of you are going to die. Naruto looked at Kakashi and went back to Kasumi again. I will be the one to go. I'm sorry, Sumi, he said with a heavy voice and mouthed something to her that she understood as her eyes widened. He then reverse gripped the kunai and was bringing it down in an arc towards his chest. Memories began to fade as time slowed down. His mother Satsuki. The illusions she showed them of his father and eldest brother Obito. The times he spent with Shursui. Itachi and Mikoto visited him. And finally Kasumi. From the day he met her at the ramen store to this morning. Every single moment he spent with her was flooding his mind. One picture, however, was dominating it over the rest. When he held her body tightly against his frame and reached down to kiss her forehead, when she had kissed him on his cheek. Naruto, stop! Sasuke yelled. Please stop! Sakura yelled as well. Nuh! The kunai had stopped at Kasumi's scream. Naruto felt things pulling his arms. His chakra felt like it was being drained. 3 chains were preventing him from committing seppuku. 3 great golden chains that emerged from Kasumi's right hand. Kakashi had gotten off her as the chains retracted and Kasumi slammed into his chest. He felt so relieved when she made it back to him. She wasn't saying anything. She was whimpering as she tightly clutched him for dear life. Her grip was far too strong. All of you. Pass. Kakashi said with a nice smile. What? Sasuke and Sakura yelled in bewilderment. Even Naruto looked at him, while tightly wrapping his arms around Kasumi. You see, I would have stopped Naruto either way. But you 4 showed the true meaning of comradeship in those exact moments. You showed that you truly cared about your comrades. Here is a lesson that I will teach all of you to never forget. Kakashi paused before resuming. Those who abandon the rules are scum. But those who abandon their comrades are even worse than scum. The 3 genin nodded. Well, looks like you awakened a rare Kekkei Genkai. She didn't reply. Uzumaki Kongo Fusa, Naruto said as he smoothly traced her sun-kissed blonde hair with red streaks, which he loved with his hand. I never thought I'd see it in my life. Well, it's official. Team 7 begins its official missions tomorrow. Oh, and sorry Kasumi, but I would have stopped Naruto in time. So don't worry about it. Ja-ne. Kakashi disappeared in smoke once more. Naruto, Sasuke and Sakura said. It's alright. I know the both of you tried to stop me at the end. I appreciate it and thank you. He lightly smiled at them. But could you give us a few moments? We'll meet tomorrow. Both of them left, but Sasuke looked at the scene behind him once more. How the 2 of them were connected. Naruto had already awakened the Sharingan, and Kasumi too had it now. She awakened it to save him. Why didn't he have someone like that? Someone who would be ready to push boundaries for him. Kasumi was not the dead last as he thought. She turned out to be probably the most capable kunoichi from his generation. And from today's actions, he was sure that the two of them could never be just friends. He scowled a bit and left. "Sumi," Naruto said softly as he gently caressed her cheek and rubbed her back. "Don't you want to go back home?" "Yes," she said as she got off him. Her bangs shadowed her eyes as she made her way towards the compound. She did not speak a single word. Nighttime, Naruto's backyard, Uchiha clan compound. Both teens had been quiet since the incident. Kasumi didn't speak unless she was asked something. It was a completely dull and horrid affair. To Naruto it felt heart-wrenching to see Kasumi like that. True, he had taken a larger risk, but now he was starting to regret it. Kasumi, however, was in emotional turmoil right now. She had nearly seen the person who was precious to her end his life so she could live. How could he do that? She knew that it was because she was weak she had gotten into that position. She believed that Kakashi would have been able to stop him, but what if he was a second late? What would she have done if she lost Naru? He was everything to her. The one person who accepted her even after seeing the living monstrosity that she housed in her gut. There was no way she would ever lose him. Not having anyone in her life had made her extremely clingy and affectionate towards Naruto. She could not speak to him, however. She was also very angry at him for taking such a huge risk. She simply kept training with her katana, weapons, and after coming back. For the first time she did not bother to have ramen after lunch. Or at dusk. She did not have a single bite. Her mind was far too focused on the fact that today's last event had transpired because of her inability to sense that Kakashi was nearby. Sure, Kakashi did it on purpose, but what if another situation like this arises on a real mission? She would never risk Naru prioritizing her life over his. She would grow stronger to protect him. Dinner had also passed and Naruto tried to speak with her about her chakra chains. She wasn't paying too much attention to it, she did however remember the name. Kongo Fusa, the adamantine chains. And now we find Kasumi is outside with her sword, slashing and hacking into nothing. Naruto had called her and told her to stop. He knew that his action today was the reason why she was like this. What else could he have done? Using Amaterasu on Kakashi, he was tempted to do so, but then the blame would fall on Kasumi's shoulders and he could never do that to her. He'd rather die than let her get blame on anything else. This also raised another matter. He had mouthed some words to Kasumi before he prepared to kill himself. When those memories with her flashed before his eyes, a great amount of regret also exploded. How he should have said something more to her. How he wanted to spend more time with her. So many other thoughts and dreams that centered around her. "Sumi." Naruto said, "Stop it." No reply. This was the third time he had told her to do so. He jumped forward and disarmed her as she began to punch him in his chest. She stopped as his arms surrounded her once more and melted into his chest. "Why?" Kasumi whimpered. "Why did you do that? What would I do if you were gone?" "I'm sorry, Kasumi. I really am. But I promise you, I will never do that again." Silence reigned supreme. Then Kasumi spoke up. She believed him. Who else could she believe? This was the bond that she shared with Naruto. She could tell when he was lying. "Naru," Kasumi said. Yesterday you said you didn't like power-hungry mongrels. The way you said mongrel? Were you the ANBU who helped all those years ago?" Naruto stayed silent for a few moments and then answered, "Yes." He rubbed her back to make her feel more comfortable, as he felt her body becoming more relaxed. "So you've been helping even before we were proper friends? You're really selfish." Kasumi paused for a few moments before she dared herself to speak once more. "Naru, did you mean what you said?" she asked. It was about the words he mouthed to her. Naruto knew exactly what she meant. Insert music, Final Fantasy X to Xanarkand, alternate versions / ending theme. Make sure you play it. Helps with the scene. "Hi," Naruto said as her violet orbs looked at him at his instant reply. He was cupping her cheeks as she leaned into it. "I thought you were just my friend. You're not. You don't know how much you mean to me. I really can't see my life without you. After Chan died, I had Shursui, Miko-chan and Tachi. Then the massacre happened and I truly became alone. I wanted to avoid everyone and remain alone. Slowly, I became cold and detached. But then you came. And then I mistakenly thought that you also saw me as an uchiha and I left. It was my greatest mistake. But you always wanted to be friends with me again, and I finally got you back. You brought back something I thought I had lost. Whenever I see you, I feel so complete. I don't need anything else. With you, everything is in its right place. So, yes, I meant what I said. He took a deep breath. I love you, Kasumi Uzumaki. And nothing in the world is ever going to change that for me. No matter what you say, no matter what you do. Even if you do not see me that way, I will never stop loving you, Sumi-chan. When I saw you with the kunai, Kasumi spoke as her voice was regaining its original conviction. I regretted not being able to tell you anything. You don't know what you really are to me. All my life I've been alone. Hokage Jiji came to visit me once in a while. Then there was an I am Nei-chan. But none of them were always with me. Then you saved me from those guys before the academy started. I had pushed you away because of my pride and it hurt so much. Then we finally became friends again and it felt so good. You saved me from Mizuki and you trained me. You gave me a home. You're someone that I can never live without, Nara, and now you beat me to the very same words I wanted to say. You baka. Naruto's eyes widened as Kasumi had tears in her eyes but a smile on her face. Hi. I love you too, Naruto Uchiha. I fell in love with you and I was afraid. Afraid that I would lose you if I said something like that. But now that I know that you see me as a precious person, I'm not afraid. I love you, Naruto-kun. And you can never get rid of me. I would never even think of it, Naruto replied. Then slowly their heads leaned forward. Their foreheads connected. Their eyes had found each other again. Time stood still once more as the winds gently blew against their bodies. Both of their lips were going straight for each other. An action that was long overdue. Finally his lips found hers as they finally embraced each other. Tingles went through their bodies as they finally felt the world around them dissolve. At this point nothing else mattered to them as they closed their eyes. All their sadness, regret and sorrow present in their lives had been washed away, as their lips had been captured by each other. They stopped for a few seconds. Naruto's eyes had finally regained the original shade of blue that he had lost, as Kasumi's violet orb seemed to gleam more than ever. Naruto was blushing as his arms were still around her waist. Kasumi was flushed as a rosy tint had been painted onto her cheeks. The moon shone down that day on Naruto and Kasumi as they were still firmly attached to one another. This was a moment that they would remember for the rest of their lives. Moving on instinct, their lips found each other again as they sat down on the bare ground. Their lips refused to be separated from each other. It was perfect. Thank you so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoy this scenario. If you want the next part of this video, turn on that bell notification. Like, subscribe and comment down below. And also check out the others' videos. I have created and enjoyed it. See you guys next video. Until that, take care.